The sun rises and sets, seasons change, and yet the human heart often remains restless, searching for a sense of security that seems to lie just beyond the next paycheck, the next promotion, or the next possession. It is natural to desire comfort, to want a stable home, and to provide for those you love, because living in this physical world requires resources, food, and shelter. However, the ancient wisdom of the Buddha offers a perspective on wealth that is much broader, deeper, and more enduring than the gold coins or digital numbers in a bank account. True richness is not just about what you have in your hands, but about the quality of the peace you hold in your mind, the kindness you offer to others, and the freedom you feel from the heavy chains of constant craving. Imagine a beautiful morning in the ancient city of Savatthi, where the air is fresh with the scent of blooming flowers, and the streets are beginning to stir with the energy of a new day. A wealthy merchant named Anathapindika, whose name means the benefactor of the orphans and the poor, once approached the Buddha with a heart full of questions about his responsibilities and the nature of his success. He was a man of great influence, yet he sought to understand if his abundance was a hindrance to his spiritual growth, or if it could be a bridge to something more meaningful. The Buddha, with a gentle smile and a voice that carried the warmth of 1,000 suns, did not tell him to throw away his treasures or to live in poverty. Instead, he spoke of 4 kinds of happiness that a person living in the world can experience, starting with the joy of ownership, which is the simple satisfaction of having earned wealth through honest work and righteous means. The second happiness is the joy of wealth, which comes from using those resources to nourish oneself, to support family and friends, and to perform acts of generosity that ripple out into the community like stones dropped into a still pond. Then comes the joy of debtlessness, the immense relief of knowing that you owe nothing to anyone, that your life is clear and your mind is unburdened by the weight of financial obligations. Finally, and most importantly, the Buddha spoke of the joy of blamelessness, which is the inner glow that arises when your actions, your words, and your thoughts are pure and cause no harm to any living being. This teaching reminds everyone that money itself is not an enemy, but rather a tool, a medium that can either be used to build a garden of compassion or to construct a wall of isolation and ego. Wealth, in the eyes of the Dhamma, is like a river that must flow to remain clear and life-giving, because when water becomes stagnant, it loses its vitality and begins to fade. If you look closely at the world around you, you will see that those who are truly wealthy are often the ones who have mastered the art of letting go, even while they possess much. They understand that everything we hold is borrowed from the earth, and one day, the earth will ask for it back. Therefore, the pursuit of money is not inherently wrong, but the attachment to it, the belief that it defines your worth as a human being, is where the shadows begin to grow. When you chase money with a heart full of greed, it becomes a mirage in the desert, always appearing close but always receding as you run toward it, leaving you thirsty and exhausted. There is a story of a young man who spent his entire life accumulating pearls, believing that once he reached 1,000, he would finally find the peace he craved. He worked through the nights, he neglected his health, and he ignored the laughter of his children, all for the sake of those shiny little spheres. When he finally reached his goal, he sat in a dark room with his bags of pearls, but he realized he was terrified of losing them, terrified of thieves, and terrified of the very things he had sacrificed his life to obtain. His wealth had become his prison, a golden cage that kept him from the simple joys of watching a sunset or sharing a meal with a friend. This is why the path of the middle way is so precious, as it encourages you to work hard and thrive, while keeping your soul light and your hands open. Money should serve you, you should not serve money, and this subtle shift in perspective changes everything about how you walk through the world. When you wake up in the morning, if your first thought is how much you can gain, the day feels heavy and competitive, but if your first thought is how you can be of service, the day becomes an adventure in connection. The Buddha often praised those who were diligent and skillful in their crafts, because being productive is a way of contributing to the harmony of society. He encouraged the lay followers to be like a bee that collects nectar from a flower without harming its color or its fragrance, taking only what is needed and leaving the rest for the beauty of the world. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who radiate a sense of calm and strength even when the winds of life blow hard. Are they usually the ones with the most expensive cars, or are they the ones who have a wealth of patience, a wealth of wisdom, and a wealth of laughter? Inner richness is a currency that never devalues, a treasure that no thief can steal and no fire can consume. It is built through small, consistent acts of mindfulness, by noticing the breath as it enters and leaves the body, and by recognizing that the most valuable things in life are not things at all. They are the moments of genuine connection, the feeling of a warm breeze on your skin, and the quiet realization that you are enough, exactly as you are, without needing anything extra to prove your value. In the time of the Buddha, there were many who lived in great luxury, and many who lived in simple circumstances, yet the light of the Dhamma shone equally on all of them. What mattered was not the size of their house, but the size of their heart, and how much room they had for compassion. There was a lady named Vishaka, a devoted follower who was incredibly wealthy, known for her magnificent jeweled headdress that was worth a fortune. One day, she accidentally left this precious item behind after listening to a teaching, and when she realized it was gone, she did not panic or mourn the loss. Instead, she decided that if it had been touched by the hands of a monk who found it, she could no longer wear it as a personal ornament, so she sold it and used every single coin to build a monastery for the community. She turned a physical object of vanity into a lasting sanctuary of peace, showing that wealth becomes sacred when it is transformed into a gift for others. This is the secret of living well, the understanding that we are mere stewards of our possessions, temporary guardians who have the opportunity to do great good with what we have been given. When you approach your work and your finances with this spirit of stewardship, the stress of competition melts away, replaced by a sense of purpose and joy. You no longer feel the need to compare your life to others, because you know that your journey is unique, and your true riches are being stored in the reservoir of your character. Money can buy a bed, but it cannot buy sleep, it can buy books, but it cannot buy intelligence, and it can buy medicine, but it cannot buy health. These are simple truths that we often forget in the rush of modern life, where advertisements constantly tell us that we are just one purchase away from perfection. But the Buddha's teachings invite you to stop, to take a deep breath, and to look within, where a fountain of contentment is already flowing. If you can find happiness in a single cup of tea, or in the sound of the rain against the window, then you are already wealthier than a king who is never satisfied. Satisfaction, or santuthi in the ancient language, is described as the greatest wealth, because it is the only thing that can truly put an end to the hunger of the ego. As you navigate the challenges of your career and your financial life, try to carry this sense of lightness with you, knowing that your efforts are meaningful but not the sum total of who you are. It is okay to seek success, it is okay to enjoy the fruits of your labor, but always keep a window open in your heart for the breeze of detachment to blow through. Remember that the most beautiful flowers grow in soil that is well tended but not squeezed too tightly, and your life will flourish in the same way when you balance your worldly goals with spiritual depth. Every dollar you earn with integrity is a drop of clean water, and every time you share that wealth, you are creating a vast ocean of merit that will support you in ways you cannot even imagine. The journey toward understanding true wealth is a gentle unfolding, like a lotus flower rising through the water to meet the light of the sun. It begins with the simple practice of gratitude, of looking at what you already have and saying thank you, whether it is for the health in your body, the food on your table, or the friends who stand by your side. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, and in that shift, the feeling of poverty disappears, leaving behind a space for abundance to grow. You will find that when you stop obsessing over what you lack, the world begins to offer you gifts in unexpected ways, because a grateful heart is a magnet for blessings. There was once a king who felt very empty despite his vast empire, and he spent his days wandering through his palace, looking at his gold and feeling only a heavy coldness in his chest. He called for a wise sage and asked why he, the most powerful man in the land, felt so poor, while the beggar at the palace gate seemed to sing with such joy. The sage told him that the king was trying to fill a hole in his soul with things that belonged to the earth, while the beggar had filled his soul with the music of the universe. The king began to learn that true power is the ability to control one's own desires, and true wealth is the ability to give without expecting anything in return. He started to use his resources to plant trees, to dig wells, and to ensure that no one in his kingdom went hungry, and as he gave, the coldness in his chest began to melt into a warm, radiant light. This transformation is available to everyone, regardless of the balance in your bank account, because the treasures of the mind are infinite and free for everyone to access. When you meditate, when you practice kindness, when you speak words that heal rather than hurt, you are depositing gold into the bank of your karma, a currency that transcends this lifetime and follows you like a shadow that never leaves. This is the only wealth that truly matters when the final curtain falls, the only thing we can carry across the threshold of death. So, do not be afraid to pursue your dreams or to build a comfortable life, but always ask yourself if you are building something that will last, or if you are just piling up sand that the tide will eventually wash away. Living with a sense of Buddhist wealth means that you can enjoy a fine meal without being devastated when you have to eat simple rice, and you can live in a beautiful house without feeling lost if you have to sleep under the stars. It is a state of inner flexibility, a resilience that comes from knowing that your happiness is anchored in something much deeper than external circumstances. This world is a place of constant flux, where markets rise and fall, and fortunes can change in the blink of an eye, but the peace of a settled mind is a rock that stays firm in the middle of the storm. When you find that rock, you will realize that you have already arrived, that you are already home, and that the richness you were seeking was inside you all along, waiting to be discovered. The Buddha's path is not one of denial, but one of deep appreciation and wise use of everything we encounter, recognizing that every object and every encounter is an opportunity to practice mindfulness. When you hold a coin, see it not just as metal, but as the sweat and time of someone's life, and treat it with the respect it deserves, using it in a way that honors that effort. When you spend money, do it with an awareness of the interconnectedness of all things, knowing that your purchase supports the livelihood of many others. In this way, even the most mundane financial transaction becomes an act of meditation, a way of staying present and connected to the pulse of the world. There is a certain elegance in simplicity, a refined beauty that comes from having just enough and not a bit more, allowing you to breathe and move with grace. Many people spend their lives collecting things they do not need to impress people they do not like, creating a cycle of stress and pretense that leaves them feeling hollow. But when you embrace the idea of enough, you break that cycle and step into a space of authentic freedom, where you can be yourself without the need for masks or trophies. This freedom is the ultimate luxury, a state of being where you are no longer a slave to the opinions of others or the demands of your own cravings. Consider the life of a forest, where every tree and every creature has exactly what it needs to thrive, and nothing is wasted, nothing is hoarded. The forest is wealthy beyond measure, yet it does not own anything, it simply participates in the grand dance of giving and receiving. We can learn so much from this natural balance, by learning to trust in the flow of life and by recognizing that we are part of a much larger system that sustains us. When you stop grabbing and start opening your heart, you find that life provides for you in ways that are often miraculous and always timely. In the teachings, it is said that there are 7 treasures of a noble person, which are faith, moral shame, moral dread, great learning, generosity, wisdom, and the courage to follow the truth. These are the assets that create a life of true distinction, the qualities that make a person truly beautiful and deeply respected by those who have eyes to see. Faith gives you the strength to keep going when things are difficult, moral shame and dread keep you on the path of integrity, and learning and wisdom allow you to navigate the complexities of existence with clarity. Generosity is the outward expression of your inner abundance, the proof that you trust in the infinite nature of the heart. As you go about your day, whether you are in a boardroom, a kitchen, or a garden, remember that you are a gardener of your own destiny, and the seeds you plant today will become the forest of your future. Every thought of greed is a weed that can choke your joy, and every thought of generosity is a flower that will scent your path with sweetness. Do not be discouraged if you feel far from this ideal, for the path of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and every moment is a new chance to choose wisdom over craving. Be patient with yourself, be kind to your mistakes, and keep turning your face toward the light of the Dhamma. The question of whether to pursue money becomes much simpler when you realize that money is just a guest in your life, sometimes staying for a long time and sometimes leaving early. If you treat this guest with hospitality but do not become obsessed with its presence, you will never be heartbroken when it decides to go. You can enjoy the comfort it brings, but your core identity remains untouched, like the deep ocean that is calm even when waves are crashing on the surface. This equanimity is the mark of a truly successful person, someone who has conquered the world by conquering their own mind. Think of the sun, which shines on the rich and the poor alike, giving its warmth without discrimination or expectation of return. When we live with a sunny heart, we become a source of light for everyone we meet, and that radiance is the most profound wealth we can ever possess. It doesn't take a cent to offer a smile, a kind word, or a listening ear, yet these are the gifts that people remember for a lifetime. In the end, we will not be remembered for our bank balances, but for how we made people feel, and for the love we left behind in the hearts of others. The pursuit of wealth can often feel like climbing a mountain that has no peak, where each step forward only reveals more peaks rising in the distance. But what if the goal was not to reach the top, but to appreciate the view from wherever you are right now? What if you realize that the peak is not a place you get to, but a way of being? When you live in the present moment, you are already at the summit, because the present is the only place where life actually happens, and where all the riches of the universe are concentrated. In one of the old stories, there was a king who was so obsessed with increasing his treasury that he forgot to eat and sleep, becoming thin and irritable until his very presence made his ministers tremble. One day, a wandering monk entered the court and placed a single dry leaf on the king's golden throne, telling him that this leaf was more valuable than all his gold. The king was outraged until the monk explained that the leaf was a reminder of the truth of change, a truth that could save the king from the suffering of his own greed. The leaf had once been green and full of life, then it turned brown and fell, and eventually, it would crumble into dust, just like the king's gold and the king himself. The king was silent as the truth of these words sank into his heart, and he realized that he had been wasting his precious life chasing shadows. He began to see his gold not as a source of pride, but as a heavy responsibility that he needed to manage with wisdom and care for the benefit of his people. He found that as he stopped trying to possess the world began to belong to him in a much more intimate way, because he was finally at peace with it. This is the irony of the spiritual life, that when you give up your grip on things, you finally have the freedom to truly enjoy them. True wealth is also about the richness of your health, both in the body and the spirit, because without a healthy vessel, it is hard to experience the joys of the world. The Buddha taught that health is the greatest gain, and he encouraged people to take care of themselves, to eat moderately, and to live a balanced life. When you treat your body as a temple of the Dhamma, you are honoring the life force that flows through you, and you create a strong foundation for your practice. A healthy mind in a healthy body is a powerful tool for doing good, and it is something that no amount of money can buy once it is lost through neglect. As you walk your own unique path, you will encounter many different ideas about what it means to be successful, and you might feel pressured to keep up with the standards of society. But remember that you have the right to define success for yourself, to choose a life that feels authentic and meaningful to you, even if it doesn't look like the pictures in a magazine. If your success includes a quiet mind, a compassionate heart, and a life of integrity, then you are a billionaire in the ways that truly count. You are building a legacy that will inspire others to find their own inner light, and that is the highest form of wealth there is. There is a gentle power in being content with what you have, a strength that comes from knowing that you cannot be bought or sold by the desires of the world. This contentment is not about being lazy or having no ambition, but about being at peace with the process of life, and trusting that you have everything you need to take the next step. It is the ability to work hard for a goal, but to remain happy even if the results are not what you expected, because you know that the effort itself is where the value lies. When you live this way, you are always successful, because every moment is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to love. The Buddha once said that the one who is satisfied with what they have is the richest person in the world, and this is a truth that resonates through the ages. It is a call to return to the simple, to the essential, and to the beautiful, and to find the extraordinary in the ordinary. When you look at a piece of bread with the eyes of wisdom, you see the sun, the rain, the earth, and the labor of the farmer, and you realize that you are consuming the entire universe. This sense of wonder is the hallmark of a wealthy soul, someone who never stops being amazed by the miracle of existence. So let us continue this conversation, let us keep exploring the depths of our own hearts, and let us discover the vast treasures that are waiting for us in the silence of our own being. There is no need to rush, no need to push, for the truth is always right here, closer than our own breath, and more intimate than our own thoughts. As we open ourselves to the teachings of the Buddha, we find that the path to true wealth is paved with kindness, lit by wisdom, and guided by the steady hand of compassion. We are all travelers on this road together, And every step we take in awareness is a gift to ourselves and to the world, a contribution to the great symphony of peace that we are all part of. Wealth in the Buddhist sense is not a destination, but a way of traveling, a manner of interacting with the world that is characterized by abundance rather than scarcity. When you believe in scarcity, you feel the need to grab and protect, but when you believe in abundance, you feel the need to share and connect. This shift in mindset is the most important financial advice you will ever receive, for it changes the very energy of your life and attracts more of what is truly good. You begin to see that there is always enough to go around, and that when one person rises, we all rise together, in a beautiful web of mutual support and celebration. As the day continues and the world calls for your attention, try to hold a small piece of this peace in your pocket, a reminder that your true value is not determined by anything outside of you. You are a precious expression of life, a unique flame in the great fire of existence, and you have every right to be happy and at peace. May your hands be busy with good work, may your mind be filled with clear thoughts, and may your heart be an overflowing well of love for all beings. This is the true meaning of a life of wealth, a life that is rich in all the ways that matter, and a life that leaves the world a little brighter than you found it. In the old chronicles, there is a story about a king who was very proud of his golden palace and his vast armies, but he felt a sense of unease whenever he looked at the mountains on the horizon. He sent his wisest scouts to find out what was beyond those mountains, and they returned with news of a kingdom where the people had no gold, yet they were always smiling and their land was always fertile. The king was confused and decided to visit this kingdom himself, dressed as a simple traveler so he could see the truth for himself. What he found was a community where everyone looked after one another, where the strongest helped the weakest, and where no one took more than they needed from the earth. He realized that their wealth was not in their possessions, but in their relationships, and in their deep connection to the natural world and to each other. They did not need walls because they had no enemies, and they did not need treasures because they found beauty in every leaf and every stone. The king returned to his palace and began to change the way he ruled, focusing on the well-being of his people rather than the size of his treasury, and he found that his own unease finally vanished. He learned that the greatest kingdom of all is the one we build inside our own hearts, a kingdom where peace is the law and love is the only currency. This is the invitation that the Buddha extends to all of us, to build that inner kingdom and to share its riches with everyone we meet, without fear and without hesitation. We are all capable of this, for the seeds of enlightenment are within every one of us, waiting for the right conditions to sprout and grow. Every time you choose a kind word over a harsh one, every time you choose to be honest even when it is difficult, and every time you choose to let go of a grudge, you are watering those seeds. You are becoming a person of true substance, someone whose wealth is measured by the depth of their character and the breadth of their compassion. In the dance of life, money and possessions are like the costumes we wear. They may be beautiful and they may be useful, but they are not the dancer. The dancer is the spirit within, the awareness that moves through the world with grace and purpose, and that remains long after the costumes have been put away. When you identify with the dancer rather than the clothes, you find a freedom that is intoxicating and a joy that is unshakable. You can perform your role in the world with excellence, you can play the game of life with enthusiasm, but you never forget who you truly are. Let us think of money as a servant that we must train well, so that it can help us achieve our highest potential and the potential of those around us. If we do not train it, it can become a master that leads us into the dark woods of anxiety and greed, where we lose our way and forget the beauty of the path. But with the guidance of the Dhamma, we can make our financial life a part of our spiritual practice, a way of expressing our values and our commitment to the welfare of all. We can earn with integrity, spend with wisdom, and give with joy, creating a life that is balanced, harmonious, and deeply satisfying. The beauty of these teachings is that they are not just for those who have a lot of money, but for everyone, regardless of their circumstances, because everyone has the capacity for generosity. You may not have gold to give, but you have your time, your attention, and your care, which are often much more precious to those who are suffering. A small act of kindness can change the entire course of someone's day, and that is a power that is more valuable than any amount of money. When you realize that you always have something to give, you will never feel poor again, for you will be tapped into the infinite source of the universe. As we look at the world today, with all its complexities and its focus on material gain, it is more important than ever to stay grounded in these timeless principles. They are the compass that will lead us through the fog of confusion and help us find our way back to the shore of peace. We don't have to follow the crowd or buy into the myth that more is always better. Instead, we can choose a path of sanity and simplicity. We can find our own pace, our own rhythm, and our own way of being wealthy that is in alignment with our deepest truths. Imagine a world where everyone lived with this understanding, where the pursuit of wealth was replaced by the pursuit of wisdom, and where the goal of society was the happiness of all beings. It might seem like a distant dream, but it begins with each one of us, in our own lives and in our own hearts. Every choice we make matters, every thought we think has an impact, and every action we take is a vote for the kind of world we want to live in. By cultivating our own inner wealth, we are contributing to the collective wealth of humanity, and helping to create a future that is bright with the light of compassion. The Buddha's voice still echoes through the centuries, calling us to wake up, to see the truth of our existence, and to embrace the richness that is our birthright. He doesn't ask us to believe in anything blindly, but to test his teachings in the laboratory of our own experience and see the results for ourselves. When you practice generosity, do you feel better or worse? When you let go of an attachment, do you feel lighter or heavier? The answers are always there, in the quiet directness of our own hearts, and they are the only evidence we need to stay on the path. So let us be brave in our pursuit of what is truly valuable, and let us be wise in our handling of the things that are temporary. Let us walk with our heads high and our hearts open, ready to meet whatever life brings with a spirit of equanimity and grace. We are not defined by our bank accounts, but by the love we have shared and the wisdom we have gained, and that is a fortune that will never fade. As we move forward into the rest of our lives, may we always remember that the greatest wealth is a clear conscience, a peaceful mind, and a heart that is at home in the world. The path is long, but it is also beautiful, and there are many friends to travel with along the way, sharing the burden and celebrating the joys. Every moment is a chance to start again, to refine our intentions and to deepen our commitment to a life of meaning and purpose. Whether we are rich or poor in the eyes of the world, we can be noble in our own eyes, and that is the only judgment that truly counts in the end. Let us live in a way that makes us proud of who we are, and let us find the treasure that is hidden in the simple reality of being alive. In the old stories of the Buddha's previous lives, known as the Jataka tales, there are many examples of how he practiced generosity and wisdom long before he became the enlightened one. In one such story, he was a king who was so moved by the plight of his people during a drought that he gave away all his personal wealth to ensure that everyone was fed and cared for. He did not worry about his own comfort or his own status, because he understood that his true wealth was the well-being of his kingdom. This selfless attitude is the ultimate expression of Buddhist wealth, the recognition that we are all one family, and that the suffering of one is the suffering of all. By looking at these ancient stories, we can find inspiration for our own lives, and learn to see our resources not as something to be hoarded, but as something to be shared for the greater good. We may not be kings or queens, but we all have something we can offer to help make the world a better place, whether it is a bit of our money, a bit of our time, or just a bit of our heart. And in the act of giving, we find that we are the ones who are most blessed, for we are tapping into the true essence of our humanity. True prosperity is also found in the ability to be present for the beauty of the world, to see the miracle in a blade of grass or the wonder in a child's eyes. When we are too busy chasing money, we often miss these small but profound gifts, and our lives become a blur of tasks and obligations. But when we slow down and breathe, we find that the world is overflowing with riches that are free for the taking, if only we have the eyes to see them. A walk in the woods, a conversation with a loved one, or a moment of quiet reflection are all forms of wealth that are more satisfying than any luxury item. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to live with awareness, to be mindful of our choices and their consequences, and to always keep the big picture in mind. He reminds us that our time on this earth is limited, and that every day is a precious opportunity to cultivate our minds and hearts. When we live with this sense of urgency and appreciation, we don't want to waste a single moment on petty grievances or mindless consumption. We want to live a life that is rich in experience, rich in understanding, and rich in love, because that is the only way to truly live. As we conclude this part of our sharing, let us hold on to the idea that wealth is a state of being, not a state of having, and that we all have the power to create a life of abundance. It doesn't happen overnight, but through the steady practice of mindfulness and kindness, we can transform our lives and our world. May you find the peace you are looking for, may you find the joy you deserve, and may you always be wealthy in the ways that truly matter. Let the light of the Dhamma guide you, and let the warmth of your own compassion sustain you, as you continue your journey on this beautiful, mysterious, and wonderful path. The sound of the temple bell fades into the distance, but its message remains in the air, a reminder of the timeless truths that have guided humanity for thousands of years. It speaks of the importance of inner peace, the value of compassion, and the need for a balanced life that honors both the material and the spiritual. As we listen to that echo in our own hearts, we find the strength to face the world with courage and the wisdom to know what is truly important. We are never alone on this path, for the wisdom of the ages is always with us, offering us a hand to hold and a light to follow. Think of the mountain that stands tall and unshakable, regardless of the weather or the seasons, and let your mind be like that mountain. Let your wealth be the strength of your character, and your prosperity be the depth of your peace, so that nothing in the world can disturb your inner harmony. You are a being of light and love, and your potential for greatness is limited only by your own imagination. Embrace your journey with all its ups and downs, and know that every experience is a gift that is helping you grow into the person you are meant to be. The air is still, the sun is high, and the world is waiting for you to show up with all your unique gifts and your beautiful heart. Go forth with confidence, knowing that you are already wealthy in all the ways that count, and that your life is a masterpiece in progress. There is so much to be grateful for, so much to celebrate, and so much to love, so let yourself be filled with the abundance of the universe. Every breath is a new beginning, and every step is a chance to walk in the light of the truth, so keep moving forward with joy and grace. As the light of awareness begins to settle deeper into your soul, you might notice how often the world tries to convince you that you are a collection of what you possess, rather than a being of infinite potential. There is a subtle, persistent whisper in the modern air that says you must be more, do more, and have more just to be considered worthy of respect or even love. But if you sit quietly by a stream and watch the water dance over the rocks, you will see that the water does not try to be anything other than what it is, yet it supports all the life around it with effortless grace. This natural state of being is your true inheritance, a form of wealth that does not require a title deed or a signature, because it is the very essence of your life force. When you begin to detach your sense of self from the objects in your house or the numbers on a screen, a magnificent space opens up within you, a space where true creativity and genuine peace can finally take root and grow. Think of the way a tree stands through a storm, its roots reaching deep into the dark earth while its branches sway and bend with the howling wind. The tree does not panic about the leaves it loses, nor does it worry if the neighboring tree looks taller or stronger in the lightning's flash. It simply remains centered in its own existence, trusting that the same earth that holds it today will provide the nutrients it needs for tomorrow. In the same way, the Buddha invited us to develop an internal root system made of virtue and mindfulness, so that when the economic winds shift or the tides of fortune turn, we are not swept away by fear or despair. This stability is a luxury that no amount of money can purchase, yet it is available to anyone who is willing to look inward and cultivate the garden of their own mind with patience and care. In the ancient records of the Buddha's travels, there is a beautiful account of a group of young men who were searching frantically for a woman who had stolen their belongings while they were enjoying a picnic in a forest. They came across the Buddha sitting under a tree and asked him if he had seen the thief pass by, but instead of pointing a direction, he asked them a question that stopped them in their tracks. He asked if it was better for them to go looking for the woman or to go looking for themselves, and in that single moment, the weight of their anger and their loss seemed to vanish. They realized that their obsession with the stolen goods had made them lose sight of their own inner peace, and that finding their true nature was far more important than recovering a few pieces of jewelry or silk. This story reminds us that we often spend so much energy chasing after things that have been taken or things we desire, that we forget the most precious thing we own is our own awareness. The pursuit of wealth becomes a beautiful dance when it is fueled by a desire to provide comfort for others, rather than a need to bolster a fragile ego. Imagine the joy of a mother who works hard to ensure her children have a warm meal and a safe place to sleep. Her effort is not driven by greed but by a profound and selfless love. This kind of labor is a form of prayer, a way of turning physical energy into a manifestation of compassion that nourishes the world. When you view your work through this lens, the exhaustion of the day is tempered by a sense of fulfillment, and the money you earn becomes a sacred substance that carries the vibration of your care. You are no longer just a worker in a machine, you are a source of light in your family and your community, using your resources to weave a tapestry of kindness that protects everyone it touches. There is a gentle humor in the way we humans tend to hoard things, as if we could somehow take them with us into the great mystery that lies beyond this life. We fill our closets and our garages with items we rarely use, thinking that each new acquisition will be the one that finally makes us feel complete. But true completion comes from the inside out, by stripping away the layers of pretense and finding the radiant core that was never empty to begin with. When you can walk through a marketplace and see thousands of beautiful things without feeling the slightest urge to own them, you have reached a level of prosperity that kings would envy. You can appreciate the craftsmanship, the color, and the design, but you leave them where they are, knowing that your happiness is not packaged in a box or tied with a ribbon. The Buddha once spoke to a group of people about the dangers of becoming like a person who carries a heavy bag of rocks across a vast desert, thinking the rocks are gold. The person sweats and groans under the weight, refusing to let go even when their strength is failing, because they are convinced that the weight is their fortune. Only when they finally collapse and the bag breaks open do they see the gray stones for what they are, and in that moment, the burden is gone and they are finally free to walk lightly toward the horizon. Many of our worries about money and status are like those rocks, heavy burdens that we choose to carry because we have been told they are valuable, even though they only bring us pain and exhaustion. If you can have the courage to look into your own bag and see which rocks you are ready to put down, you will find a lightness in your step that you haven't felt since childhood. Every day provides us with countless opportunities to practice the wealth of the heart, which is found in the simple acts of listening, helping, and being fully present. When a friend is going through a difficult time, your undivided attention is a gift that is worth more than 1,000 pieces of silver, because it affirms their worth and provides a sanctuary for their soul. In these moments, you are not a consumer or a competitor, you are a witness to the shared human experience, and that connection is the most valuable commodity in the universe. We are often so focused on our own goals that we forget that the person standing next to us is also carrying a hidden burden, and a small gesture of recognition can be the catalyst for a miracle. This is the economy of the spirit, where the more you give away, the more you seem to have, because love is the only thing that multiplies when it is shared. Consider the moon, which reflects the light of the sun and illuminates the dark paths of the world without asking for anything in return. It does not try to hold on to the light or store it for a rainy day, it simply lets the light pass through it and offers it to anyone who looks up. When we live with this kind of transparency, our lives become a reflection of the infinite goodness of the universe, and we find that we are always supported in ways we cannot explain. We don't need to struggle so hard to survive when we realize that we are part of a cosmic flow that is constantly giving and receiving in perfect harmony. Trusting in this flow is the ultimate form of financial security, because it is based on the unchanging laws of nature rather than the volatile fluctuations of human systems. The ancient sages taught that there is a profound difference between a house and a home, and that while money can build the walls, only love and peace can fill the space with warmth. You can live in a palace and feel like a prisoner if your mind is filled with resentment and fear, or you can live in a simple hut and feel like royalty if your heart is filled with gratitude. The true measure of your wealth is how you feel when you are alone with your thoughts, and whether you can find joy in the silence of your own company. If you can sit in a room with nothing but your breath and feel a sense of overwhelming abundance, then you have found the treasure that everyone is searching for. This inner sanctuary is always there, waiting for you to step inside and rest from the noise of the world. There is a story of a merchant who traveled to a distant land to buy the most expensive perfume in the world, believing that its scent would make him the most desirable man in his city. He spent his entire fortune on a small crystal vial and guarded it with his life as he crossed the sea. But during a great storm, the vial fell and shattered on the wooden deck of the ship, and the merchant wept in despair at his loss. However, as the scent of the perfume filled the air, the sailors who had been tired and grumpy began to smile, and the atmosphere on the ship transformed into one of peace and harmony. The merchant realized that the perfume was most powerful when it was released, not when it was trapped in a bottle, and that his wealth was meant to be a blessing for everyone, not a secret for himself. We are all like that merchant, carrying precious gifts within us that are meant to be broken open and shared with the world. Whether it is our talent, our time, or our resources, these things only find their true purpose when they are used to lift the spirits of others. If we keep them locked away for our own use, they eventually lose their fragrance and become a source of anxiety, but when we let them go, they fill the world with a sweetness that lingers long after we are gone. This is why the Buddha emphasized the practice of dana, or giving, as the very first step on the spiritual path, because it loosens the grip of the ego and prepares the mind for the deeper realizations of wisdom and compassion. Giving is not an obligation, it is a celebration of our interconnectedness and a declaration that we trust in the abundance of life. The pursuit of wealth often leads us to believe that we are separate from the rest of creation, as we build fences and walls to protect what we think is ours. But if you look at the atoms in your body, you will see that they are the same atoms that make up the stars, the trees, and the very ground you walk on. There is no such thing as mine and thine in the grand design of the universe. There is only a continuous movement of energy from one form to another. When you understand this, the desire to hoard and exclude begins to fade, replaced by a sense of belonging to a vast and beautiful whole. You no longer need to own the mountain to enjoy its majesty, nor do you need to own the river to be refreshed by its waters, for you recognize that you are the mountain and you are the river. True Buddhist wealth also involves the cultivation of a sharp and clear intellect, an ability to see through the illusions of the world and understand the true nature of reality. This wisdom allows you to make decisions that are not based on temporary impulses or social pressure, but on a deep understanding of cause and effect. You begin to see that every action you take is a seed that will eventually bear fruit, and you become more careful about what you plant in the garden of your life. You choose work that is honorable and helpful, you handle your finances with integrity, and you avoid the traps of greed and dishonesty that lead to so much suffering. This clarity of mind is a great asset, providing you with a compass that never fails, even in the most confusing circumstances. In the time of the Buddha, there was a man who was very poor in material things but very rich in his devotion to the truth. He would spend his days cleaning the streets of the city, and though he earned very little, he always had a smile for everyone and a kind word for the stray animals. One day, the Buddha passed through the city and stopped to talk to this man, ignoring the wealthy officials who were waiting for his attention. The Buddha told the crowd that this humble street sweeper was a noble person because he performed his work with a pure heart and caused no harm to any living being. He showed everyone that dignity and worth have nothing to do with one's social status or the clothes they wear, but with the quality of their character and the depth of their sincerity. This lesson is just as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago, reminding us to look beyond the surface and value people for who they are, not for what they have. When you treat everyone with equal respect, from the CEO of a company to the person who empties the trash, you are practicing a form of spiritual wealth that creates a more just and compassionate society. You are breaking down the barriers of ego and prejudice, and building a world where everyone can feel valued and seen. This is the true meaning of a successful life, a life that contributes to the collective well-being and leaves a legacy of kindness that inspires others to do the same. Wealth is often equated with security, but the only true security comes from having a mind that is at peace with change. No matter how much money you have, you cannot stop the flow of time or prevent the inevitable shifts of the world. But if you have trained your mind to stay steady and calm regardless of the circumstances, you have a security that nothing can take away. You can face the loss of a job, a change in health, or the end of a relationship with a sense of equanimity, knowing that these are just part of the ebb and flow of existence. This resilience is the greatest wealth you can ever possess, a treasure that is built through the practice of mindfulness and the understanding of impermanence. When you sit down to eat a simple meal, try to do so with full awareness of the incredible journey that each ingredient took to reach your plate. See the sun that provided the energy, the rain that gave life, the earth that offered its nutrients, and the hands of the many people who planted, harvested, and transported the food. When you eat with this kind of gratitude, even a bowl of rice becomes a feast, and you realize that you are being sustained by the entire universe in every moment. This sense of being supported and nourished is the antidote to the feeling of lack that drives so much of our consumer culture, and it brings a deep sense of satisfaction that no luxury item can match. Money is like the fuel in a lamp. It is necessary for the light to shine, but it is not the light itself. The light is the wisdom and compassion that radiate from your heart, and the fuel is meant to be used to keep that light burning bright for the benefit of everyone. If you have a lot of fuel but no light, you are just sitting in the dark with a heavy tank, but if you have just enough fuel and a strong, clear flame, you can illuminate the world. The goal is to find the right balance, so that your material resources support your spiritual growth rather than hindering it. You use what you have with wisdom and care, and you never lose sight of the true purpose of your life. There is a quiet dignity in living a life that is simple and uncluttered, where you have room to breathe and time to think. We are often so busy trying to manage our possessions that we have no time to enjoy them, and our lives become a series of chores and maintenance. But when you simplify your life, you reclaim your time and your energy, and you find that you have more to give to the things that truly matter. You can spend more time with your family, more time in nature, and more time in quiet reflection, and these are the things that bring true and lasting happiness. Simplicity is not about deprivation, but about choosing what is essential and letting go of the rest, so that your life can be a clear and beautiful expression of your soul. In the teachings, it is said that the most precious jewel is the jewel of the Dhamma, the truth that sets us free from the cycle of suffering and craving. This jewel is found within our own hearts, and it shines more brightly as we let go of our attachments and our fears. It is a treasure that is available to everyone, regardless of their background or their circumstances, and it is the only thing that can truly satisfy the longings of the human spirit. When you find this jewel, you realize that you have everything you ever wanted, and that the search for wealth in the outside world was just a preparation for the discovery of the riches within. You are a king or a queen in your own right, with a kingdom that is infinite and eternal. As you walk through your day, try to be like a guest in the world, enjoying everything but not trying to claim anything as your own. Treat the earth with respect, treat people with kindness, and move with a sense of grace and humility. This attitude of a guest allows you to appreciate the beauty around you without the stress of ownership, and it makes you a welcome presence wherever you go. You are here for a short time, and the best thing you can do is to leave the world a little better than you found it, through your actions and your presence. This is the highest form of success, and the most meaningful way to use the wealth of your life. Think about the legacy you want to leave behind, not in terms of the money you leave in your will, but in terms of the love and wisdom you have shared with others. When people remember you, what do you want them to say? Do you want them to remember your big house and your fancy car, or do you want them to remember your kindness, your patience, and your ability to make them feel heard. The seeds of love you plant today will continue to bloom long after you are gone, providing shade and beauty for generations to come. This is the true meaning of immortality, the way our goodness continues to ripple through the world and the lives of those we have touched. The pursuit of wealth is a journey that can take many different forms, but it is always most rewarding when it is guided by the light of the Buddhist teachings. Whether you are building a business, raising a family, or seeking spiritual enlightenment, the principles of mindfulness, integrity, and compassion will always lead you in the right direction. You don't have to choose between material success and spiritual growth. You can have both if you approach them with the right attitude and a clear understanding of your priorities. Your life can be a beautiful blend of the worldly and the divine, a harmonious dance that honors all the different aspects of your being. Let us be like the lotus flower, which grows in the mud but rises above the water to bloom in the sunlight, pure and untouched by the muck. The mud of the world, with its greed and its competition, can be the very soil that provides the nutrients for our spiritual growth, if we know how to use it correctly. We don't have to escape from the world to find peace, we can find it right in the middle of our busy lives, by staying centered in our own awareness and committed to our own values. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to practice patience and wisdom, and every success is an opportunity to practice gratitude and generosity. As the sun sets on another day, take a moment to look back and see how you have spent the wealth of your time and your energy. Were you kind to yourself and others? Did you act with integrity? Did you find moments of peace and beauty in the midst of your tasks? If the answer is yes, then your day has been a successful one, and you have added to the true riches of your life. Do not worry about the things you didn't get done, or the money you didn't make, just focus on the quality of your presence and the goodness of your heart. Tomorrow is a new day, a new opportunity to walk the path of wealth and wisdom, and to discover the infinite treasures that are waiting for you in every moment. The rhythm of the heart is the rhythm of the universe, a steady and reliable pulse that connects us to all of life. When we align our own rhythm with this cosmic heartbeat, we find a sense of flow and ease that makes everything seem possible. We no longer feel the need to push or pull, but simply to move with the music of existence, trusting that we are being guided and supported at every turn. This state of alignment is the ultimate prosperity, a way of living that is both effortless and profoundly productive, as we become a channel for the creative energy of the universe to manifest in the world. May your journey be filled with the light of understanding and the warmth of compassion, and may you always find the strength to follow your own truth. You are a precious and unique being, and your presence in the world is a gift that is beyond measure. Embrace your life with joy and gratitude, and let your inner wealth shine for all to see, like a beacon of hope in a world that is often dark and confused. You have everything you need to be happy, right here and right now, and the more you realize this, the more the world will reflect that abundance back to you. The clouds drift across the sky, changing shape and color in the light of the setting sun, a beautiful reminder that everything is in a state of constant transformation. We, too, are changing in every moment, and our ideas about wealth and success are also evolving as we grow in wisdom and experience. What seemed important yesterday may not seem so important today, and that is a sign of our progress on the path. We are learning to let go of the things that no longer serve us, and to make room for the new and the beautiful to enter our lives. This openness to change is the secret of eternal youth and the foundation of a truly wealthy soul. As you close your eyes and prepare for rest, Let go of all the worries and the plans of the day, and simply be with your breath. Feel the peace that is always there, beneath the surface of your thoughts, and let it wash over you like a gentle wave. You are safe, you are loved, and you are exactly where you need to be. The riches of the world are yours to enjoy, but the riches of the soul are yours to keep, and tonight you can rest in the knowledge that you are a being of infinite value and eternal peace. Sleep well, dear friend, and may your dreams be filled with the beauty and the light of the truth. Waking up to the soft glow of a new dawn, there is a profound realization that the most expensive clock in the world cannot buy a single extra second of time, yet the poorest person and the wealthiest king are both given the same 24 hours to weave their destiny. This equal distribution of time is the universe's way of showing us that our true potential lies not in how much we accumulate, but in how mindfully we spend the currency of our moments. When you look at your life as a series of breaths rather than a series of transactions, the pressure to outpace others dissolves into a gentle desire to simply be present. The pursuit of money often feels like a race where the finish line keeps moving, but the pursuit of presence is a homecoming where you realize that you have already arrived at the only place that matters, which is the here and the now. In the ancient stories of the Buddha's interactions with the world, there was a king named Pasenadi who often arrived at the monastery out of breath, his mind heavy with the administrative burdens of his vast realm and the constant worry over his borders. The Buddha, seeing the king's exhaustion, once compared the pursuit of worldly power and wealth to a man trying to quench his thirst by drinking salt water. The more the man drinks, the thirstier he becomes, until the very thing he thought would save him becomes the source of his greatest discomfort. This salt water of craving is what drives the modern world into a frenzy of consumption, yet the remedy is so simple that it is often overlooked. It is the cool, clear water of contentment, the ability to say that what I have in this moment is enough, and that my worth is not a variable that changes with the market. There is a unique kind of wealth found in the silence of a mind that no longer needs to defend its image or prove its superiority. When you are no longer trying to be someone in the eyes of the crowd, you gain the freedom to be everyone in the eyes of the heart, connecting with the joy and sorrow of all living beings without a filter. This transparency is a form of spiritual abundance that allows you to walk through the most crowded city and still feel the stillness of a mountain top. You begin to see that the buildings, the cars, and the flashing signs are just temporary arrangements of energy, while the kindness you share with a stranger is a permanent contribution to the harmony of the cosmos. This perspective doesn't make you less effective in your career. Instead, it makes you a visionary who works with the long-term interests of humanity in mind. Consider the artisan who carves a wooden bowl with such focus and love that the bowl seems to radiate a spirit of its own, far beyond its functional use. The artisan may not become a billionaire, but they are wealthy in the satisfaction of their craft, knowing that they have brought a piece of beauty into a world that is often fragmented and rushed. When you approach your daily tasks, whether they are digital spreadsheets or manual labor, with this level of devotion, you are practicing a form of right livelihood that nourishes your soul. Money earned through such integrity has a different weight and a different feel. It is clean and light, carrying no shadows of manipulation or harm. It becomes a medium through which you express your respect for the world, and in return, the world provides you with a sense of belonging that no social status can replicate. The Buddha taught that there is a great danger in the blind pursuit of wealth, which he likened to a person walking through a dense forest while staring only at a single gold coin on the ground. Because their eyes are fixed downward on the small prize, they fail to see the pits in their path, the beauty of the canopy above, or the predators lurking in the shadows. We often do this in our modern lives, focusing so intensely on our financial goals that we fall into the pits of stress, ignore the beauty of our children growing up, and fail to notice the predators of anxiety and loneliness. To be truly wealthy is to lift your gaze, to see the whole forest, and to realize that the gold on the ground is only a tiny part of the magnificent landscape that you are already standing in. There is a gentle wit in the realization that we are often working ourselves to death to pay for things that are meant to help us relax. We buy expensive massage chairs because we are too tense from working, we buy luxury vacations because we are too exhausted to enjoy our own backyards, and we buy complex security systems because we are afraid of losing the things we worked so hard to get. The path of wisdom invites us to cut out the middleman and go directly to the peace we seek. If you can find peace in a deep breath, or joy in a conversation with a neighbor, you have bypassed the need for $1 million detour. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have nice things, but it means you are no longer dependent on them for your fundamental sense of well-being. In the old chronicles, there is a story of a young monk who found a large diamond while walking through a village and simply handed it to the first person who asked for it. The villager who received the diamond was initially overjoyed, thinking his life was now perfect, but he couldn't sleep that night. He kept wondering what kind of inner wealth the monk must possess to be able to give away such a treasure so easily. The next morning, the villager returned the diamond to the monk and said, "I don't want the stone, I want the wealth that allowed you to give it away." This is the true invitation of the Dhamma, to find that internal source of abundance that makes external riches seem like simple pebbles in comparison. When you have found the diamond of your own inner peace, you can hold the world's treasures lightly, using them when they are helpful and letting them go when they are not. The concept of wealth, in the eyes of a practitioner, is also about the richness of one's environment, not in terms of luxury, but in terms of harmony. A home where there is no shouting, where there is mutual respect, and where the air is filled with the scent of patience is a far wealthier place than a mansion filled with gold and resentment. You can cultivate this environment without spending a single penny, simply by changing the way you speak to your loved ones and the way you handle the small frustrations of the day. A gentle word is a deposit into the emotional bank account of your family, and the interest it pays is a lifetime of trust and support. This is the foundation of a prosperous life, a stable base from which you can reach out and help others without feeling depleted. Wealth is also the ability to be a refuge for others, to be the person that people turn to when they are lost or afraid. If you have cultivated wisdom and compassion, you have an infinite supply of comfort to offer, and this makes you an indispensable part of the world. Money can provide a bed for the homeless, but your compassion provides a home for the lonely, and both are needed. When you see your resources as a way to alleviate the suffering of those around you, your life takes on a heroic quality. You are no longer just surviving, you are participating in the great work of healing the world, and there is no greater sense of accomplishment than knowing you have made a difference in the life of another living being. Imagine a world where success is measured by the number of people you have helped, the amount of peace you have cultivated, and the integrity with which you have lived. In such a world, a teacher who inspires a child, a nurse who comforts a patient, or a parent who raises a kind human being would be seen as the titans of industry. While we may not live in that world yet, we can choose to live by those standards in our own private lives. We can celebrate our own small victories of patience and generosity, recognizing them as the true milestones of our personal growth. When we shift our internal metric of success, the external world loses its power to make us feel inadequate, and we step into the full radiance of our own unique path. The Buddha often reminded his followers that the body is a temporary vessel, and that our time within it is a fleeting opportunity to gather the merit of good deeds. Merit is like a spiritual currency that doesn't lose its value when the economy crashes, and that stays with us through all the transitions of life and death. When you spend your day being honest, being kind, and being mindful, you are filling your spiritual coffers with a wealth that will sustain you in your darkest hours. This is not a form of buying your way into heaven, but a natural law of cause and effect, where positive actions create a positive internal environment. A person rich in merit feels a natural sense of confidence and ease, knowing that they have lived in alignment with the truth. There is a profound beauty in the simplicity of a life that is focused on what is essential, like a poem that says everything it needs to say in just a few lines. We often clutter our lives with so many goals and desires that the original purpose of our journey gets lost in the noise. But if you can boil your life down to a few core values, such as kindness, wisdom, and service, your path becomes clear and your burden becomes light. You no longer have to worry about keeping up with anyone, because you are walking your own path at your own pace. This simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, a refined way of living that honors the sacredness of every moment and the dignity of every being. Wealth is also the courage to be honest with yourself about your own motivations and your own fears. It takes a very rich person to admit when they have been greedy, or to acknowledge the insecurity that drives their need for status. When you can look at your own shadows with the light of compassion, you are doing the hard work of inner alchemy, turning the lead of your ego into the gold of your true self. This self-awareness is a treasure that allows you to navigate the world with a sense of humor and a deep understanding of human nature. You see that everyone is struggling with the same basic desires, and this realization dissolves the walls of judgment and replaces them with the bridge of empathy. In the dance of the material and the spiritual, money is like the shoes we wear to walk the path. If the shoes are too small, they pinch and cause pain, making it hard to focus on the scenery. If they are too large, we trip and fall, becoming embarrassed and hurt. But if the shoes fit just right, we forget we are wearing them and can enjoy the long journey toward the mountains. The goal of a Buddhist life is to find the shoes that fit your unique situation, allowing you to fulfill your responsibilities without being distracted by the footwear. You take care of your finances so that they don't become a source of pain, but you never mistake the shoes for the destination. As you look around your home today, try to see your possessions as traveling companions, rather than as parts of your identity. Some companions stay with us for a long time, while others are just passing through, but none of them define who we are. When you can look at your favorite chair, your car, or your bank balance and say, "This is here for now, and I am grateful for its service," you are practicing the high art of non-attachment. You are enjoying the world fully, but you are not being strangled by it. This mental flexibility is the secret to a long and happy life, allowing you to adapt to whatever changes the universe may bring with a smile and a steady heart. There is an old story of a man who spent his life searching for a mythical treasure at the edge of the world, only to return home as an old man and find that the treasure was buried under his own hearth all along. We are all like that man, searching for wealth in different countries, different jobs, and different relationships, only to discover that the treasure is the capacity for peace that has been sitting inside our own hearts the whole time. Every time you stop and breathe, you are digging a little deeper toward that hearth, uncovering the riches that were always yours. The pursuit of money is a valid part of the human experience, but it is the inner search that finally brings the journey to a satisfying conclusion. True prosperity is also found in the ability to forgive ourselves for our past mistakes and our financial failures. Many of us carry a heavy weight of regret over lost opportunities or poor decisions, but this regret is a form of poverty that drains our present energy. The Dhamma teaches us that the past is a finished dream, and the only place where we can create wealth is in the present moment. If you can let go of the ghosts of your past mistakes, you free up a massive amount of internal resources to build a better future. You are not defined by what you lost, but by what you choose to do with the wisdom you gain from that loss. Living with a kind root means that your external success is supported by a deep and healthy foundation of spiritual values. Just as a tree with deep roots can produce a vast amount of fruit without exhausting itself, a person with deep values can produce a vast amount of success without losing their soul. Your wealth becomes a natural expression of your growth, something that provides shade and nourishment for everyone who comes near you. You are not competing for a limited amount of sunlight, you are growing toward the infinite light of the truth, and there is plenty of room for everyone to bloom. This is the vision of a truly prosperous life, a life that is beautiful, meaningful, and deeply connected to the heart of the universe. Walking through the garden of existence, you might notice that the most vibrant flowers do not compete with the ones next to them, they simply bloom with all their might, trusting that the soil and the sun will provide exactly what is necessary for their journey. In our human world, we often fall into the trap of horizontal comparison, measuring our success by looking at the house across the street or the digital highlights of a stranger's life, which only serves to wither our own inner joy. But true Buddhist wealth is a vertical path, a deepening of your own roots into the ground of your unique purpose and your own potential. When you stop looking sideways and start looking downward into your own character and upward toward your highest ideals, you find a sense of abundance that is independent of anyone else's opinion. You realize that your life is not a race against others, but a sacred unfolding of your own capacity to love, to understand, and to serve. There is a hidden richness in the ability to embrace uncertainty with a heart that is not trembling, but curious and open to the lessons of the moment. We spend so much of our wealth trying to build walls against the unknown, buying insurance, creating 5-year plans, and trying to predict the future, yet the only thing that is truly certain is change itself. A person who is wealthy in the Dhamma knows that their true security lies in their ability to adapt, to learn, and to maintain their integrity even when the ground shifts beneath their feet. This mental agility is a form of spiritual capital that allows you to walk into any situation, no matter how challenging, with a sense of quiet confidence. You are not afraid of losing your external treasures because you have cultivated an internal landscape that is fertile, resilient, and always capable of starting anew. In the time of the Buddha, there was a man who lived in a small village and was known for his incredible patience and his ability to find beauty in the most mundane tasks. Even when his crops failed or when his neighbors were unkind, he remained steady, his eyes always reflecting a deep and unshakable peace. When people asked him how he could stay so calm in the face of loss, he simply said that he had learned to see every event as a guest passing through his house. Some guests brought gifts of joy, while others brought the heavy luggage of sorrow, but he knew that none of them intended to stay forever. By not trying to push the difficult guests away or cling to the pleasant ones, he saved an immense amount of energy that others wasted in struggle. This energy is the true wealth of a sage, a reservoir of vitality that can be used to heal the world rather than being drained by the friction of resistance. Money can buy the most exquisite musical instruments, but it cannot buy the soul of a musician, nor can it buy the silence that allows the music to be heard. True prosperity is the harmony between your outer actions and your inner values, a resonance that makes your life feel like a beautiful song rather than a series of discordant notes. When your words match your thoughts and your deeds match your promises, you possess a form of credit that is more valuable than any gold, for it builds a foundation of trust that can bridge any gap. This integrity is the ultimate form of influence, a quiet power that moves the world not through force or manipulation, but through the simple and undeniable weight of the truth. People are naturally drawn to those who are authentic, and this social wealth is a blessing that enriches every aspect of your professional and personal life. The Buddha often spoke about the emptiness of worldly gains, not to say that they are worthless, but to remind us that they have no inherent power to make us happy on their own. Like a beautiful rainbow that appears after a storm, wealth is a conditioned phenomenon that arises when certain causes come together and disappears when they fall apart. If you try to grab the rainbow and put it in a box, you will be disappointed, but if you can stand in the rain and appreciate its colors without needing to own them, you are participating in the magic of the universe. This ownership without attachment is the highest form of economic wisdom, allowing you to use your resources with skill and joy while remaining free from the sorrow of their eventual change. You become a master of your possessions, rather than their servant, and your life takes on a quality of lightness and playfulness. Consider the wealth of a clear conscience, which is like a soft pillow that allows you to sleep peacefully regardless of the noise outside. No amount of money can quiet the voice of regret or the sting of a dishonest deed, yet a life of simple honesty provides a sense of ease that is the envy of the most powerful people on earth. When you can look everyone in the eye and know that you have acted with kindness and fairness, you are walking through the world with a transparent heart. This transparency is a profound luxury, as it removes the need for masks, for lies, and for the constant stress of maintaining a false image. You are free to be exactly who you are, and that freedom is the most precious treasure you can ever possess. There is a story of a traveler who found a magical stone that could turn lead into gold, but after a few days of creating mountains of yellow metal, he realized he was lonelier than he had ever been. He had so much gold that he no longer needed to interact with others, he no longer had to rely on the kindness of strangers, and he no longer felt the thrill of a hard day's work. He saw that his wealth had become a barrier between him and the rest of humanity, a wall of cold metal that blocked the warmth of genuine connection. He eventually threw the stone into the sea and returned to his simple life, realizing that the gold he was truly seeking was the shared laughter, the mutual support, and the common struggles that make us human. We often forget that our needs and our vulnerabilities are the very things that bring us together, and that a life of perfect self-sufficiency can be a very poor life indeed. Wealth is also the ability to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, to find wonder in the way a leaf turns toward the light or the way a cup of water tastes when you are truly thirsty. When we are constantly chasing the next big thrill or the next major purchase, our senses become dull and we lose the capacity for simple joy. But through the practice of mindfulness, we can reawaken our appreciation for the small miracles that surround us in every moment. This sensory wealth is free and infinite, yet it provides a deeper satisfaction than the most expensive luxury experiences. If you can be happy watching the clouds change shape, you are wealthier than someone who travels the world but never truly sees where they are. Your happiness is no longer a destination you are trying to reach, but a companion you carry with you on the journey. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to be diligent in our worldly affairs, but to do so with a heart that is anchored in the unconditioned. This means you can work with passion, you can innovate, and you can build great things, but you never lose sight of the fact that these things are not the ultimate goal. You are like an actor who plays their role on stage with total commitment, but who knows perfectly well that when the play is over, they will take off the costume and go home. This perspective allows you to take your work seriously but not yourself, giving you a sense of humor and a resilience that protects you from the highs and lows of the professional world. You can celebrate your successes without becoming arrogant, and you can face your failures without becoming devastated, for your true identity remains untouched. There is a unique prosperity in being easy to support, in having few needs and a heart that is satisfied with simple things. In the monastic tradition, the ideal practitioner is one who is content with whatever food is offered, whatever clothing is available, and whatever shelter is provided. While lay people live in a different context, the principle of simplicity as wealth still applies. When you reduce your physical and emotional requirements, you become a very powerful person, because the world has fewer hooks to pull you with. You are no longer a slave to the latest trends or the opinions of the crowd, and you have more resources to share with those who are truly in need. This frugality of the heart is not about being stingy, but about being so full of inner light that you don't need much from the outside to keep your flame burning. In the old chronicles, it is said that the greatest gift one can give is the gift of fearlessness, which is the peace that radiates from a person who has conquered their own greed and hatred. When you are around such a person, you feel a sense of safety and calm, as if you are standing in a protected harbor during a storm. This is a form of wealth that you can develop through your own practice, by learning to meet your own fears and desires with understanding and compassion. As you become more peaceful within yourself, you naturally become a source of peace for others, and this is the highest form of service you can offer to your family, your friends, and your community. You don't need to say anything or do anything special, your very presence becomes a healing influence in the world. Wealth is also the ability to maintain your inner dignity, regardless of your bank balance or your social position. There is a story of a queen who was forced into exile and had to work as a servant in a foreign palace, yet she performed her tasks with such grace and such a sense of self-respect that everyone who saw her thought she was still a royal. She knew that her nobility was not in her crown or her silken robes, but in the way she held herself and the way she treated others. We can all practice this form of spiritual royalty by recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every human being, including ourselves. No matter what your current circumstances may be, you can choose to act with honor, with kindness, and with a sense of purpose that transcends the labels of the world. The pursuit of wealth becomes a sacred path when it is motivated by the desire to create merit for the benefit of all beings. Every time you use your money to support a hospital, to feed the hungry, or to protect the environment, you are transforming a material substance into a spiritual legacy. This merit is a form of wealth that you can truly take with you, for it shapes the quality of your consciousness and determines the direction of your future lives. It is like planting a tree that will provide shade and fruit for people you will never meet, an act of pure and selfless love that connects you to the infinite stream of goodness that flows through the universe. When you give in this way, you find that your own needs are met in ways you never expected, for the universe always supports those who work for the benefit of the whole. There is a profound beauty in the silence that comes after a long day of honest work, a sense of completion and rest that only comes when you have given your best to the world. This rest is a form of wealth that money cannot buy, for it is the natural reward of a life lived with integrity and effort. As you lay your head down each night, let yourself be filled with the quiet satisfaction of knowing that you have contributed something positive to the tapestry of life, however small it may seem. You don't need to be famous or powerful to be a success, you only need to be kind, to be honest, and to be present. In the eyes of the Dhamma, these are the only qualities that truly count, and they are the only treasures that will never fade or be taken away. The journey of wealth is a journey of widening your heart, of moving from the small circle of me and mine to the vast circle of us and ours. As you grow in understanding, you begin to see that your own happiness is inseparable from the happiness of others, and your own prosperity is linked to the prosperity of the entire world. You no longer want to succeed at the expense of others, but rather to succeed in a way that lifts everyone up with you. This, collective wealth, is the only sustainable form of success, for it builds a society that is based on cooperation, compassion, and mutual respect. You become a part of something much larger than yourself, and in that expansion, you find a sense of meaning and purpose that is truly infinite. Every breath you take is a reminder of the abundance that is already yours, the gift of life that has been given to you without any effort on your part. You did not have to earn the air you breathe, or the light of the sun, or the beauty of the natural world, they are all offered to you freely every single day. If you can start your morning with this simple realization, your entire relationship with money and possessions will begin to change. You will move from a mindset of scarcity and fear to a mindset of gratitude and trust, knowing that the universe that provides your breath will also provide everything else you need in the right time and in the right way. This trust is the ultimate form of wealth, a state of being where you are always at home, always safe, and always enough. The morning dew reflects the vastness of the sky in a single drop, and in that tiny sphere, we see a truth that often escapes us when we are busy calculating our worth in gold and silver. We are often told that to be wealthy is to stand above others, to have the power to command and the resources to exclude, but the wisdom of the heart suggests that true prosperity is found in our capacity for profound empathy. When you can feel the warmth of another person's smile as if it were your own, or the sting of their sorrow as if it touched your own skin, you have accessed a wealth that is boundless and indestructible. This interconnectedness is the real currency of the universe, a flow of energy that does not diminish when shared, but rather grows stronger and more vibrant with every act of recognition. You are no longer a lonely island trying to hoard sand, but a part of the vast, surging ocean that is never empty and never truly lacking. Imagine the freedom of a bird that flies across continents, carrying no luggage and owning no land, yet every branch it lands on provides a home and every fruit it finds provides a feast. The bird lives in a state of constant trust, not because it is naive, but because it is perfectly attuned to the laws of nature and its own inner instincts. We humans often trade this instinctive freedom for the heavy chains of accumulation, thinking that the more we own, the safer we will be from the uncertainties of life. But the Buddha reminded us that our true safety is found in the 5 treasures of a noble life, which are the treasures of faith, virtue, conscience, learning, and wisdom. These are the internal assets that allow you to travel through the world with the same lightness as that bird, knowing that wherever you go, you carry your home and your security within your own heart. There was once a village elder who was asked by a young, ambitious trader about the best way to protect his growing fortune from thieves and decay. The elder took the trader to a garden and pointed to a beautiful flower that was in full bloom, its fragrance filling the air for everyone to enjoy. The elder said that the trader should treat his wealth like that fragrance, by letting it go and letting it bless as many people as possible, for no thief can steal the scent of a flower once it has been released into the wind. If you hold the flower too tightly in a dark box, it will wither and die, and its beauty will be lost to everyone, including yourself. This teaching on the fragrance of generosity reveals that the only wealth we truly keep is the wealth we have given away, as it transforms into a legacy of love that exists in a dimension where time and decay have no power. Money can buy the most sophisticated security systems, but it cannot buy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have never intentionally caused harm to another living being. In our pursuit of financial success, we are often tempted to take shortcuts, to be a little less than honest, or to ignore the impact of our actions on the environment and our fellow humans. But every time we choose integrity over easy gain, we are making a deposit into the most important bank account of all, the bank of our own self-respect. A person who is spiritually wealthy is one who can stand in the middle of a storm with a clear conscience, knowing that their foundation is built on the solid rock of truth. This inner stability is worth more than all the gold in the world, for it provides a sanctuary that no market crash or political upheaval can ever touch. Consider the wealth of a disciplined mind, which is like a well-trained horse that can carry you safely through the most dangerous terrain without faltering. We spend so much time trying to manage our external environment, yet we often leave our internal world in a state of chaos, driven by every passing whim and every flicker of desire. But when you invest your time in meditation and self-reflection, you are developing a form of mental capital that pays dividends in every area of your life. You become the master of your emotions rather than their servant, and you gain the ability to choose your responses with wisdom and grace. This self-mastery is the ultimate form of power, a quiet and steady strength that allows you to be effective in the world without being consumed by its fires. There is a subtle humor in the way we often treat our bodies like high-performance machines, spending vast amounts of money on organic food, gym memberships, and expensive supplements, while ignoring the quality of the thoughts we feed our minds. True health and true wealth are inseparable, for a body that is nourished by a peaceful mind is far more resilient than one that is constantly flooded with the toxins of stress and anger. When you choose to think thoughts of kindness, forgiveness, and gratitude, you are practicing a form of internal medicine that is free and incredibly potent. You realize that your state of mind is the primary architect of your reality, and that by cultivating a wealthy interior, you are naturally creating a prosperous and healthy life for yourself and those around you. In the old stories, there is a legend of a king who searched his entire life for the perfect pearl, a gem so beautiful and valuable that it would make him the envy of all other rulers. He traveled to the depths of the ocean and the peaks of the highest mountains, spending his kingdom's treasures in his obsession. It was only when he sat down in exhaustion by a simple stream and watched a child playing with a smooth, ordinary stone that he finally understood the truth. The perfect pearl was not an object to be found, but the state of pure awareness that was currently witnessing the child's play. He saw that by chasing the external gem, he had been missing the priceless treasure of his own presence in every moment. He returned to his palace and began to rule with a heart that was full, no longer needing anything from the outside to validate his existence. Wealth is also the ability to be patient with the process, to understand that the most meaningful things in life take time to grow and mature. In our modern culture of instant gratification, we often feel like failures if we don't achieve massive success overnight, but the Dhamma teaches us to move with the rhythm of the seasons. Just as a farmer does not shout at the seeds to grow faster, we must learn to tend to our goals with steady effort and a trust in the natural laws of cause and effect. This, temporal wealth, is a sense of calm and perspective that allows you to stay focused on your long-term vision without being discouraged by short-term setbacks. You understand that every effort you make is a seed planted in the fertile ground of your life, and that in the right time, the harvest will surely come. There is a profound beauty in the generosity of the spirit, which is the willingness to forgive those who have wronged us and to let go of the debts of the heart. We often carry around the heavy luggage of old grudges and past hurts, thinking that by holding on to our anger, we are somehow protecting ourselves. But in reality, these grudges are a form of spiritual poverty that drains our joy and prevents us from experiencing the fullness of the present moment. When you choose to forgive, you are not saying that the harm was okay, you are simply deciding that you are too wealthy to spend another second of your precious life on bitterness. You are reclaiming your energy and your peace, and in doing so, you are opening the door for new blessings to enter your life. Think of the wealth that is found in true friendship, the kind of connection where you can be completely yourself, with all your flaws and your vulnerabilities, and still feel deeply accepted and loved. These relationships are the true safety net of our lives, providing a support system that no insurance policy can match. You build this wealth by being a true friend yourself, by listening with your whole heart, by being reliable, and by celebrating the success of others as if it were your own. In a world that often feels cold and competitive, a circle of genuine friends is a warm hearth that keeps your spirit bright and your heart encouraged. This social prosperity is a natural result of a life lived with kindness and authenticity, and it is a treasure that grows more valuable with every passing year. The Buddha's path is often described as the middle way, and this applies perfectly to our relationship with money and possessions. It is a path that avoids the extreme of self-indulgence, where we become slaves to our cravings, and the extreme of self-mortification, where we deny our basic needs and live in unnecessary hardship. By walking the middle way, you use your resources to create a life that is comfortable and dignified, but you never lose sight of the fact that your true happiness comes from within. You are like a skilled sailor who knows how to use the wind to move the boat, but who also knows that the wind is not the destination. You navigate the material world with skill and balance, always keeping your eyes on the stars of your spiritual ideals. There is a unique richness in the quality of your attention, the ability to be so fully present in whatever you are doing that the boundary between you and the task begins to dissolve. Whether you are cooking a meal, writing a report, or playing with a pet, this state of flow is a form of spiritual abundance that brings a deep sense of satisfaction and joy. When you are fully present, you are no longer worried about the past or anxious about the future, you are simply participating in the miracle of the now. This capacity for deep focus is a rare and valuable asset in our distracted world, and it allows you to do your work with a level of excellence and heart that is truly inspiring. You find that the more attention you give to the world, the more beauty and meaning the world reveals to you. Every act of mindful spending is a chance to align your external life with your internal values and to vote for the kind of world you want to live in. When you choose to buy products that are made with respect for the earth and for the people who created them, you are using your wealth as a tool for positive change. You realize that your money is not just a personal possession, but a form of energy that flows through the world, and you take responsibility for the direction of that flow. This ethical prosperity brings a sense of harmony and purpose to your financial life, as you see that your success is contributing to the well-being of the entire planet. You are no longer just a consumer, you are a conscious participant in the great web of life, using your resources to weave a pattern of kindness and sustainability. As you move through your day, try to carry a sense of humility as your constant companion, recognizing that all your successes are the result of countless causes and conditions beyond your control. You did not choose the time or place of your birth, the talents you were born with, or the many people who have helped you along the way. This realization is not meant to diminish your efforts, but to ground you in a sense of gratitude and connection to the rest of humanity. A humble heart is a wealthy heart, for it is always open to learning, always ready to appreciate, and always aware of the many blessings that are being showered upon it in every moment. You find that the less you try to be important, the more significant your life becomes, as you move in harmony with the natural flow of existence. There is a deep peace in the acceptance of what is, the ability to stay calm and centered even when things don't go according to your plan. We often waste our wealth of energy in a futile struggle against reality, wishing that things were different than they are. But when you can say, yes, to the present moment, exactly as it is, you are accessing a form of spiritual resilience that is truly invincible. This doesn't mean you stop working for change, but it means you work from a place of peace rather than a place of desperation. You are like the deep ocean that is still and quiet at its depths, even when there are waves and storms on the surface. This equanimity is the mark of a truly wealthy soul, someone who has found the unchanging truth in the middle of a changing world. The journey toward true wealth is a journey of uncovering the gold that is already within you, rather than trying to paste it on from the outside. You are already a being of infinite worth, a unique expression of the universe's creativity, and nothing you buy or achieve can add to that fundamental value. When you truly understand this, the pressure to become someone disappears, and you can enjoy the process of living with a light heart and a curious mind. You are free to explore your passions, to develop your skills, and to share your gifts without the burden of having to prove yourself. This freedom is the ultimate prosperity, a state of being where you are already successful, simply because you are alive and awake to the beauty of the world. As the day turns toward the evening and the shadows begin to lengthen, let yourself be filled with the wealth of the quiet mind, a sense of stillness that is not empty, but full of the potential for peace. You have done your best today, you have planted seeds of kindness and awareness, and now it is time to let go and rest in the arms of the universe. The stars will come out soon, reminding us of the vastness of the cosmos and our own small but significant place within it. You are a part of a magnificent story that has been unfolding for billions of years, and your life is a precious verse in that eternal song. Rest deeply, knowing that you are held, you are known, and you are always, always enough. The transition from the active energy of the day to the contemplative stillness of the evening is a reminder that the true rhythm of wealth is found in the balance between breathing in and breathing out, between gathering and releasing. We often spend our entire lives in a state of inhalation, trying to pull more into our experience, more into our bank accounts, and more into our identities, but a life without exhalation becomes tight, anxious, and unsustainable. The Buddhist path invites you to practice the art of the long exhale, which is the conscious letting go of the need to control every outcome and the courage to trust that the universe will provide the next breath when it is time. This trust is not a passive resignation, but an active, vibrant participation in the flow of life, where you work with all your heart while remaining unattached to the fruits of your labor. Imagine the wealth of a person who has mastered the gift of speech, whose words are always like pearls of wisdom and drops of honey that heal the wounds of those they encounter. We often underestimate the power of our language as a form of capital, yet a single harsh word can bankrupt a relationship, while a word of genuine encouragement can provide the emotional resources for someone to change their entire life. To be wealthy in this sense is to use your voice as an instrument of truth and compassion, speaking only when your words are more beautiful than silence. When you cultivate this discipline, your presence becomes a sanctuary for others, and you find that you are surrounded by a richness of trust and sincerity that no amount of money could ever buy. In the old scrolls, there is a story of a young woman named Kisa Gautami who, in her deep grief, sought a miracle to bring her child back to life, but through the gentle guidance of the Buddha, she discovered something far more valuable than a miracle. She was asked to find a tiny mustard seed from a house where no one had ever died, and as she traveled from door to door, she realized that every family had experienced loss, every heart had known sorrow, and every home had its own empty chair. Her search for a physical seed transformed into the discovery of universal compassion, as she realized she was not alone in her pain. This realization is a form of supreme wealth, for it breaks the shell of the isolated ego and connects us to the vast, shared ocean of human experience. When you understand that everyone is fighting a hard battle, your own burdens feel lighter, and your heart becomes an infinite reservoir of empathy. True Buddhist prosperity is also found in the refinement of our desires, the ability to distinguish between what we truly need for our well-being and what we merely want to satisfy a fleeting impulse. We are living in an era designed to keep us in a state of perpetual hunger, with every advertisement suggesting that we are incomplete without the latest gadget or the newest fashion. But when you look closely at these cravings, you see they are like ghosts that can never be fed, always demanding more but never providing lasting satisfaction. By choosing to feed your soul with the nutrients of the Dhamma, such as meditation, study, and service, you find that your external needs naturally decrease while your internal fulfillment exponentially increases. You become like a person who has discovered a hidden spring in their own backyard, no longer needing to travel far and wide to quench their thirst. Consider the wealth of moral courage, the quiet strength that allows you to stand up for what is right even when it is unpopular or when it might cost you a financial advantage. In a world that often rewards the loudest and the most aggressive, there is a profound and lasting power in the person who remains true to their principles, even in the smallest matters. This consistency of character builds a type of spiritual credit that is recognized by the wise and respected by the universe. When you act with integrity, you are weaving a safety net for your own soul, ensuring that no matter what happens in the external world, you will always be able to look at yourself in the mirror with a sense of pride and peace. This is the only form of status that truly matters in the end, the status of being a person of honor and truth. There is a unique beauty in the wealth of anonymity, the ability to do good things without needing any recognition or any name attached to the deed. We are often taught that we must build our brand and ensure that everyone knows about our accomplishments, but there is a secret joy in being the silent benefactor who leaves a gift on a doorstep and walks away into the night. This hidden generosity is a powerful way to weaken the grip of the ego, as it shifts the focus from "look what I did" to "look at the good that happened." When you give without wanting a return, not even a thank you, you are practicing a form of divine abundance that aligns you with the natural way of the world, where the rain falls and the sun shines on everyone without asking for a single word of praise. In the teachings of the forest traditions, the masters often speak about the treasure of the present moment as the only real property we ever truly own. Everything else, our houses, our cars, our bodies, and even our reputations, is on loan from the universe and can be called back at any time. But the quality of our awareness in this very second is something that is entirely ours to cultivate and enjoy. If you can fully inhabit that now, you are experiencing a luxury that most people spend their entire lives chasing but never quite catch. You realize that the rich life is not something that happens in the future after you achieve your goals. It is something that is happening right now in the sensation of your feet on the ground, the sound of the wind in the trees, and the light in the eyes of a friend. Wealth is also the capacity for wonder, the ability to look at the world with the eyes of a child who sees magic in every pebble and every cloud. As we grow older and become more focused on our careers and our responsibilities, we often lose this sense of enchantment, replacing it with a cynical or utilitarian view of existence. But the Buddha's path invites us to reawaken our curiosity and to see the miraculous nature of everything we encounter. When you realize that the very fact that you are alive and breathing is a statistical impossibility, a 1,000,000,000 to 1 shot in a vast and silent cosmos, you can't help but feel like the luckiest person alive. This gratitude for the sheer fact of being is a form of wealth that turns every ordinary day into a grand celebration. There is a deep peace in the wealth of self-reliance, not in the sense of being isolated from others, but in the sense of having an internal source of happiness that does not depend on external praise or material conditions. When you have done the work of knowing yourself and being your own best friend, you are no longer a beggar for the approval of the world. You can enjoy the company of others and the comforts of life, but you are not devastated when they are absent, because you have found the unshakable stone within your own heart. This independence is a form of true freedom, allowing you to move through life with a sense of ease and dignity, regardless of whether the world is applauding you or ignoring you. Think of the wealth of patience, which is like a vast and fertile field where the seeds of your dreams can grow at their own natural pace. We are often so rushed and so desperate for results that we pull up the sprouts to see if they are growing, which only kills the very thing we are trying to nurture. But the person who is wealthy in patience understands that everything has its own season and its own timing. They work with diligence and care, but they also have the wisdom to wait, knowing that the most beautiful flowers cannot be forced to bloom. This calm endurance is a rare and precious asset, helping you to navigate the long journeys of life without losing your heart or your hope. Money can buy the services of the most talented people, but it cannot buy the wealth of a shared vision, where a group of people works together in harmony toward a common goal that is larger than any of them. This collective energy is a form of social capital that can move mountains and transform societies. When you lead with kindness and humility, you create an environment where everyone feels valued and inspired to give their best, and this synergy produces a level of success that is far greater than the sum of its parts. You find that the most rewarding part of any project is not the profit at the end, but the relationships that were built and the growth that was experienced along the way. Every moment of mindfulness is a direct investment in your future happiness, as it trains your brain to stay centered in the peace of the present rather than wandering into the shadows of the past or the anxieties of the future. This mental training is a form of spiritual wealth that accumulates over time, creating a deep reservoir of calm that you can draw upon in times of crisis. You become like a person who has built a strong and sturdy house on a solid foundation, so that when the storms of life arrive, you can sit by the fire in peace, knowing that you are safe. This resilience is the ultimate form of insurance, a protection that no company can sell you, but that you can build for yourself through the steady practice of awareness. There is a profound beauty in the wealth of forgiveness, the ability to let go of the heavy stones of anger and resentment that we have been carrying in our hearts. When you forgive someone, you are not doing them a favor, you are doing yourself a favor by freeing up the energy that was being wasted on maintaining a grudge. You realize that your heart is too precious a space to be used as a storage unit for old hurts, so you clear it out to make room for new experiences of love and joy. This, emotional clearing, is a form of spiritual abundance that allows you to walk through the world with a light step and a radiant smile, unburdened by the ghosts of the past. As you look toward the horizon of your life, try to see your wealth not as a fixed amount of stuff, but as a dynamic and ever-growing capacity to give and to love. The more you open your heart to the world, the more the world opens its treasures to you, in a beautiful cycle of mutual enrichment. You are not a container that can be filled, but a channel through which the infinite goodness of the universe can flow. This shift from having to being and giving is the most profound transformation a human being can undergo, and it is the secret to a life that is truly rich in every sense of the word. The stars above are a reminder that we are part of a vast and ancient family of light, and that our individual lives are part of a much larger cosmic story. In the grand scale of the universe, our financial worries and our social status seem small and insignificant, yet the quality of our love and the depth of our wisdom are of infinite importance. You are a unique and precious expression of the life force, and your presence in the world is a gift that can never be replaced. Embrace your journey with all its challenges and its joys, and know that you are always supported by the same energy that moves the stars and makes the flowers bloom. There is a deep satisfaction in the wealth of a simple life, where you have enough for your needs and a little more to share, but not so much that you are burdened by the weight of management and maintenance. This simplicity is a form of high art, a refined way of living that prioritizes experiences over objects and relationships over status. You find that when you have fewer things to take care of, you have more time to take care of your soul and to connect with the people you love. This freedom of time is the ultimate luxury, providing you with the space to breathe, to think, and to simply be, which is the most valuable thing any of us can ever have. May your heart be a garden of peace, your mind a fountain of wisdom, and your life a testament to the power of kindness and integrity. You have everything you need to be happy right here and right now, and the more you realize this, the more the world will reflect that abundance back to you. Walk your path with confidence and grace, knowing that you are a person of true substance and infinite worth. The journey is the destination, and every step you take in awareness is a victory of the spirit over the illusions of the world. Stay true to your roots, and you will grow into a forest of light that provides shelter and beauty for all who cross your path. There is a serene richness in the wealth of a flexible spirit, one that does not break when the rigid structures of the world begin to crack or dissolve. We often invest so much of our identity in the specific roles we play, thinking that we are only valuable as long as we are the successful entrepreneur, the provider, or the expert in our field. But the Dhamma teaches us that true prosperity is the ability to shed these skins without losing our essence, like a river that remains itself whether it is a rushing waterfall or a quiet pool. When you are not defined by your title or your paycheck, you possess a fluidity that allows you to find opportunity in every setback and beauty in every transition. This adaptability is a spiritual asset that ensures you are never truly poor, because your capacity to create and to find meaning is not tied to a single circumstance or a specific outcome. In the ancient tales of the forest dwellers, there was a story of a master who lived in a cave with nothing but a single clay bowl, yet he was sought after by kings who felt like beggars in his presence. One king, frustrated by his own constant anxiety despite his overflowing treasury, asked the master how a man with nothing could look so triumphant. The master pointed to the bowl and said that when the bowl is empty, it has the potential to hold anything, but when it is full, it is finished and limited. Our hearts are often so full of plans, worries, and identities that there is no room for the fresh blessings of the universe to enter. To be truly wealthy is to cultivate an empty heart, in the highest sense, a space that is open, receptive, and ready to dance with whatever the present moment brings, without the clutter of yesterday's expectations. Money can buy the finest ornaments for a house, but it cannot buy the wealth of a warm welcome, the invisible energy that makes a space feel like a sanctuary for any weary soul who enters. You build this wealth through the quality of your hospitality, not by the price of your furniture, but by the genuine interest you show in others and the safety they feel in your company. When you treat every person who crosses your threshold as a visiting deity, you are practicing a form of abundance that enriches the very air you breathe. You find that the more you offer your space and your time to others, the more your own life feels spacious and supported by a vast network of invisible goodwill. This communal richness is a treasure that provides a deep sense of belonging, reminding you that you are a vital thread in the beautiful fabric of human connection. There is a unique prosperity found in the wealth of a clear intention, knowing exactly why you do what you do and ensuring that your actions are not driven by blind habit or social pressure. Most people spend their lives reacting to the demands of the world, like a leaf blown by the wind, but a person of wisdom moves with a steady and purposeful direction. When you earn money with the intention to heal, to protect, and to uplift, every dollar becomes a carrier of your virtue. This clarity of purpose acts like a filter, protecting you from the exhaustion of meaningless pursuits and focusing your energy on what truly adds value to your life and the lives of others. You are no longer scattered or overwhelmed, but centered in a quiet power that is both efficient and deeply satisfying. Consider the wealth of humor and perspective, the ability to laugh at the absurdities of life and not take your own dramas too seriously. We often treat our financial struggles or our career hurdles as if they were life or death matters, creating a mountain of stress that drains our vitality. But through the eyes of the Buddha, we see that the entire world is a lila, a divine play of light and shadow that is constantly changing. When you can find the humor in a mistake or the irony in a difficult situation, you have reclaimed your power from the external world. This lightness of heart is a form of spiritual wealth that makes you resilient and attractive to others, as people are naturally drawn to those who can find a spark of joy even in the middle of a challenge. The Buddha's concept of right effort is a form of economic wisdom that teaches us how to manage our internal energy so that we don't become spiritually bankrupt. It suggests that we should work hard to prevent negative states from arising and to cultivate positive ones, rather than just working for physical objects. If you earn $1 million but lose your ability to feel joy, you have made a terrible bargain and are effectively poor. But if you work in a way that keeps your mind bright, your body healthy, and your spirit enthusiastic, you are living in a state of high profit every single day. True wealth is the sustainable management of your own light, ensuring that you never burn out your candle just to buy a bigger holder for it. There is a profound beauty in the wealth of a quiet conscience, the knowledge that you have never built your success on the tears or the losses of another person. In the competitive landscape of the modern world, it is often said that one must be ruthless to survive, but the law of karma suggests that the most successful people are those who create win-win situations. When your prosperity is built on the prosperity of others, your wealth is supported by the gratitude and the success of your entire community. You don't have to worry about enemies or rivals, because your work is a gift that others want to see continue and flourish. This harmony between your gain and the world's gain is the only form of wealth that is truly stable and enduring. Imagine the wealth of a person who is rich in questions, someone who never stops being a student of life and who finds as much value in the mystery as they do in the answers. We often think that wealth is about having everything figured out and being in total control, but true abundance is the humility to stay curious and open. When you approach your work and your relationships with a beginner's mind, you are constantly discovering new ways to grow and new ways to be of service. This intellectual and spiritual wealth ensures that your life never becomes stagnant or boring, but remains a vibrant adventure of constant unfolding. You are always rich in possibilities, and every person you meet becomes a potential teacher on your journey toward enlightenment. Wealth is also the ability to recognize the wealth in others, to see the beauty and the talent in the people around you and to help them bring those gifts to the surface. When you are not consumed by your own ego, you can become a mirror that reflects the light of those you encounter, making them feel seen, valued, and empowered. This act of spiritual investment in others is one of the most rewarding things a human being can do, and it creates a legacy of transformation that goes far beyond any material inheritance. You find that the more you celebrate the success of others, the more your own life is filled with celebration and joy, as you are surrounded by a thriving and grateful forest of souls. In the old chronicles, there is a teaching about the wealth of the four immeasurables, which are loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity. These are the four infinite banks of the heart that never run dry, no matter how much you withdraw from them. Loving kindness is the desire for everyone to be happy, compassion is the desire to ease their suffering, appreciative joy is the ability to be happy for their success, and equanimity is the steady peace that remains regardless of whether the world is kind or cruel. When you possess these four treasures, you are a billionaire in the spiritual realm, and your life becomes a fountain of light that nourishes everyone who comes near. These riches are free for the taking and infinite in their supply, requiring only your willingness to practice and to open. There is a deep peace in the wealth of a simple routine, a set of daily habits that ground you in the sacred and the essential. Whether it is a morning meditation, a walk in nature, or a quiet moment of reading, these rituals are the anchors that keep your soul from drifting in the storms of the world. You don't need a luxury spa or an expensive retreat to find peace if you have cultivated a daily life that honors your inner needs. This habitual wealth is the foundation of a stable and meaningful existence, providing you with a sense of rhythm and purpose that makes every day feel like a success. You realize that the big achievements are just the peaks, but the real beauty of life is found in the steady and mindful climbing of the everyday path. Think of the wealth of silence, the ability to sit without the need for distraction, noise, or entertainment. In a world that is terrified of the void, being comfortable in the silence is a form of supreme confidence and self-mastery. When you can be alone with your own mind and feel a sense of companionship and peace, you have found the ultimate security. You are no longer a slave to the attention economy, and you don't need the constant validation of the digital world to feel like you exist. This inner stillness is a precious commodity that allows you to hear the subtle whispers of your own intuition and the quiet music of the universe, leading you to insights that are worth more than any information money can buy. Wealth is also the courage to be vulnerable and real, to drop the armor of perfection and allow your humanity to be seen. We spend a fortune on beauty products, fashion, and social media filters to hide our flaws, but it is our cracks that allow the light to get in and out. When you have the wealth of self-acceptance, you don't need to hide anymore, and this authenticity creates a powerful magnet for genuine and deep relationships. You find that people are not looking for a perfect person to follow, but for a real person to walk beside. This honesty of the soul is a form of prosperity that simplifies your life and brings a profound sense of relief and freedom. As you navigate the challenges of your career and your financial goals, try to hold the idea of enoughness in your heart as a steady flame. Enoughness is not about having a specific amount of money, but about a state of being where you are not constantly reaching for the next thing to feel whole. It is the realization that your basic needs are met, your heart is full of love, and your mind is at peace, and everything else is just extra seasoning on a meal that is already delicious. When you live from a place of enoughness, you are no longer a hungry ghost, but a satisfied guest at the banquet of life. You can work with passion and strive for excellence, but you do so from a place of abundance rather than a place of lack. Every moment of deep listening is a form of generosity that costs you nothing but gives the other person everything. When you truly listen to someone, without judging, without preparing your response, and without checking your phone, you are giving them the gift of their own existence. This presence is a rare and precious form of wealth in our distracted age, and it builds bridges of trust and understanding that can survive any hardship. You find that the more you give your attention away, the more you feel connected and alive, as you are participating in the deep and mysterious current of human life. You are a listener of the world, and in that listening, you find the wisdom of the ages. The light of the stars is millions of years old, yet it reaches your eyes in this very second, a beautiful reminder that the past and the present are always connected in a single tapestry of light. Your current life is the result of all your past choices, and your future is being built in this very moment by the quality of your thoughts and actions. Treat your time as your most sacred asset, and invest it in things that produce a harvest of peace and wisdom. You don't have to wait for the end of the journey to be happy, for the joy is in the walking, the breathing, and the simple act of being awake to the miracle of it all. You are a person of true and lasting wealth, and your life is a gift to the entire universe. The fragrance of the earth after a sudden rain reminds us that the most profound transformations often happen in the quiet, unseen spaces where we allow ourselves to simply be, without the need to produce or perform. We live in a society that treats human beings like machines that must constantly be upgraded, optimized, and pushed to higher levels of efficiency. Yet the wisdom of the Buddha suggests that we are more like gardens that require rest, shadows, and seasons of stillness to truly flourish. True prosperity is the ability to reclaim your inner rhythm from the mechanical demands of the world, allowing your creativity and your kindness to emerge at their own natural pace. When you are no longer rushing toward a future version of yourself, you find that you are already standing in a field of abundance, where every breath is a victory and every heartbeat is a gift of grace. There is a hidden wealth in the art of observation, the capacity to look at your own thoughts and emotions as if they were passing clouds, without being swept away by their intensity. Most people spend their entire fortunes of energy reacting to every flicker of anger, every surge of desire, and every shadow of doubt, leaving them exhausted and spiritually depleted. But a person who has invested in mindfulness has a different kind of capital, a steady and calm center that can witness the storms of the mind with curiosity and compassion. This mental spaciousness is the ultimate form of real estate, a vast and peaceful territory within yourself that no one can occupy or take away. When you own your inner world, you are no longer a beggar for external peace, because you have built a temple of stillness right where you are. In the old accounts of the disciples, there was a woman named Soma who was told by others that a woman's wisdom was limited by her nature, yet she stood firm in the realization that when the mind is settled and the insight is clear, the labels of gender, status, and identity vanish like mist in the morning sun. She understood that her true wealth was not in her social role, but in her direct experience of the truth, a treasure that is available to anyone who has the courage to look deeply within. This story encourages everyone to stop seeking validation from the narrow categories of the world and to find the infinite richness that lies in the unlabeled soul. When you stop trying to fit into the small boxes of successful, wealthy, or important, you step into the boundless freedom of your true nature, where you are everything and nothing all at once. Money can buy the most sophisticated education and the most expansive libraries, but it cannot buy the wealth of a listening heart, which is the ability to hear the unspoken needs and the silent music of the world. True intelligence is not just the accumulation of facts or the mastery of complex theories, but a sensitive and receptive awareness that can perceive the interconnectedness of all things. When you walk through a forest and feel the ancient life of the trees, or when you sit in a meeting and feel the underlying hopes and fears of your colleagues, you are practicing a form of deep intelligence that is a supreme asset. This sensitivity allows you to navigate the complexities of human relationships with a sense of tact, kindness, and profound effectiveness, creating harmony wherever you go. Consider the wealth of self-forgiveness, the radical act of letting yourself off the hook for the mistakes of your past and the flaws of your present. We are often our own harshest creditors, demanding an impossible level of perfection and punishing ourselves with the high interest rates of guilt and shame. But the Dhamma teaches us that every moment is a fresh start, and that the water of the present is always clean, regardless of what happened upstream. When you forgive yourself, you are reclaiming a massive amount of emotional currency that was being wasted on regret, allowing you to invest it in being a better, kinder person today. This inner compassion is the foundation of true prosperity, for a heart that is at peace with itself has an infinite capacity to be at peace with the world. There is a unique beauty in the wealth of small acts, the realization that the most significant contributions to the world are often the ones that go unnoticed by the history books. A parent who tucks a child in with love, a neighbor who shares a surplus of vegetables, or a worker who does a thorough job simply out of respect for the task are all titans of spiritual wealth. We often neglect these small moments in our pursuit of greatness, yet they are the very threads that hold the world together and make life worth living. When you value the small, you find that your life is overflowing with opportunities for success, and you no longer feel the need to wait for a big break to feel like you have made a mark. Every smile you give and every door you hold open is a deposit into the global bank of kindness, and the interest it pays is a world that is just a little bit warmer for everyone. The Buddha's teaching on impermanence is not a message of gloom, but a profound economic insight that helps us prioritize what is truly valuable. If we know that everything physical will eventually change and dissolve, we stop investing our entire sense of self in objects that are destined to fade. Instead, we begin to invest in the qualities of the heart that transcend the physical world, such as patience, wisdom, and love. This is like moving your wealth from a volatile and crashing market into a steady and eternal one, where the value only grows over time. You can still enjoy your physical possessions, but you do so with a sense of lightness and humor, knowing that they are just temporary traveling companions on your long journey toward the light. Imagine the wealth of a person who is brave enough to be simple, who does not need to impress anyone with the complexity of their lifestyle or the height of their achievements. In a world of constant noise and frantic display, there is a quiet majesty in the person who knows who they are and is satisfied with a few meaningful things and a few deep relationships. This simplicity is not a lack of ambition, but a high level of spiritual efficiency, where you have cleared away the clutter of the ego so that your true purpose can shine through. You find that the less you have to defend, the more energy you have to create, and the less you have to hide, the more you can truly be seen. This transparency is the ultimate luxury, providing a level of comfort and ease that no silk sheets or gold-plated rooms could ever provide. Wealth is also the ability to be a guardian of the natural world, recognizing that the health of the earth is the true foundation of all human prosperity. When you see a tree not as timber, but as a living brother, or a river not as a resource, but as the lifeblood of the planet, you are accessing a global wealth that is shared by all living beings. Your success is no longer about taking as much as you can, but about giving back as much as you can, ensuring that the garden of existence remains fertile for the generations to come. This sense of stewardship brings a profound meaning to your life, as you realize that you are a part of a much larger and more ancient story of life and renewal. You are a protector of the light, and in that protection, you find your own deepest security. In the old chronicles, there is a story of a traveler who found a mountain made entirely of salt and realized that even though the mountain was vast, it could only be enjoyed one grain at a time on a piece of bread. We often try to consume our lives in giant bites, rushing through our meals, our conversations, and our experiences, trying to get to the end, or the reward. But the true reward is in the grain of salt, the specific and unique texture of the present moment. Wealth is the capacity to slow down enough to taste your life, to feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, and to listen to the sound of your own breath. When you master this slow wealth, you find that a single day can feel like a lifetime of abundance, and you no longer feel the need to rush toward the finish line. There is a profound peace in the wealth of a steady gaze, the ability to look at the suffering of the world without turning away in fear or becoming paralyzed by despair. When you have cultivated the kind roots of compassion, you have the inner resources to stay present for those who are in pain, offering them a sanctuary of calm and a witness to their dignity. This courage to care is a form of spiritual wealth that makes you a light in the dark, a person who can hold the hand of the dying or the hand of the broken and not flinch. You find that in the act of being there for others, your own heart becomes larger and more resilient, proving that the more love you spend, the more love you have in your vault. Think of the wealth of not needing to be right, the freedom to listen to an opposing view with an open mind and a heart that is not threatened. Most of our conflicts, both personal and global, are driven by a poverty of the ego that is terrified of being wrong or losing face. But a person who is wealthy in wisdom knows that their value is not tied to their opinions, and that they can learn something from everyone they meet. This intellectual humility is a form of supreme confidence, allowing you to move through the world with a sense of playfulness and a genuine desire to understand. You are no longer at war with the world, but in a constant dialogue with it, and this peace is a treasure that brings a deep sense of relaxation and joy. Every moment of gratitude is a way of declaring that you are already rich, regardless of what your bank balance may say. When you say thank you for the water you drink, the air you breathe, and the friends who love you, you are shifting your consciousness from a state of wanting to a state of having. This shift is the most powerful financial strategy in the universe, as it aligns you with the energy of abundance and opens the doors for more blessings to flow into your life. A grateful person is never poor, because they see the gold in every interaction and the diamonds in every challenge. You become a magnet for goodness, and your life becomes a radiant example of what is possible when the heart is full. Wealth is also the ability to let go of your expectations, and to love the world exactly as it is, with all its messiness and its flaws. We often spend our wealth of time trying to fix people or fix situations so they meet our standards, which only results in frustration and resentment. But when you can accept the world with a spirit of equanimity, you are free to enjoy it without the stress of management. This doesn't mean you stop working for improvement, but you do so with a heart that is already satisfied. You are like a guest at a party who enjoys the music even if it's not their favorite genre, and who enjoys the food even if it's not perfectly seasoned. This flexible joy is a form of prosperity that makes you a delight to be around and a master of your own happiness. As you look toward the end of another day, let yourself be filled with the wealth of the quiet heart, a sense of completion that comes from having lived with integrity and kindness. You don't need to be perfect to be a success, you only need to be present and to keep turning toward the light. Every day is a practice, a chance to refine your character and to deepen your understanding of the Dhamma. You are a work in progress, a beautiful and evolving expression of the universe's infinite potential. Rest in the knowledge that you have everything you need to take the next step, and that you are always supported by the vast and loving energy of life. The moon rises in the sky, reflecting the light of a sun that is currently hidden from view, a beautiful reminder that even in our darkest moments, the light is still there, waiting to be reflected. Your inner wealth is like that sun, a constant and radiant source of energy that is always present, even when it is covered by the clouds of worry or the shadows of doubt. Trust in your own light, trust in your own path, and know that you are a being of infinite value and eternal peace. The journey of wealth is not about going somewhere else, but about waking up to the magnificence of where you already are. Sleep well, dear friend, and may your dreams be a reflection of the beauty and the truth that you carry within your soul. The stars that watch over us in the deep velvet of the night have seen countless civilizations rise and fall, and they serve as a silent reminder that the true measure of a life is not the stone monuments we build or the digital legacies we leave, but the warmth we ignite in the hearts of others. We often spend our vitality trying to make a name for ourselves, yet the Buddha suggested that the most profound success is found in selflessness, the ability to act without the heavy shadow of the I or the mine. When you help a stranger or plant a tree without needing to be thanked, you are practicing a form of horizontal wealth that spreads across the world like the morning light. You are no longer a small, isolated ego trying to defend a tiny territory, but a vast and open sky that encompasses everything without being stained by anything. This expansion of the self is the ultimate prosperity, a state where your joy is as large as the universe itself because you have stopped limiting it to your own personal gain. There is a subtle and exquisite wealth in the art of listening to the unheard, the ability to perceive the quiet whispers of your own intuition and the silent pleas of the natural world. In our modern age of constant data and loud opinions, we often lose touch with the inner compass that knows the way even when the maps are wrong. But a person who has cultivated a quiet mind possesses a form of spiritual guidance that is worth more than any expert advice or market analysis. When you can sit in the silence and hear the truth of your own heart, you are no longer a victim of the world's confusion, but a leader of your own destiny. This intuitive wealth provides a sense of direction and clarity that allows you to move through life with a calm and steady confidence, knowing that you are always exactly where you need to be. In the ancient accounts of the wandering monks, there was a story of a practitioner who lived in a village and was known for having nothing but his smile, yet when he walked down the street, even the birds seemed to sing more clearly and the children felt a sudden surge of happiness. He did not give away gold or silver, for he had none, but he gave away the energy of his presence, which was so light and so pure that it acted like a healing balm on the spirits of everyone he met. This radiant wealth is something we all possess, buried under the layers of our worries and our serious plans. When you let go of the need to be important, and simply allow your natural light to shine, you become a benefactor to the world in a way that money could never replicate. You find that the greatest gift you can ever give is the gift of your own peace, and that this gift is never exhausted, no matter how many people receive it. Money can buy the most comfortable chairs and the most expensive beds, but it cannot buy the wealth of a restful mind, which is the ability to let go of the day's burdens the moment your head touches the pillow. We often carry our work, our anxieties, and our social competitions into our sleep, turning our rest into a secondary battlefield where we continue to struggle. But the Dhamma teaches us to practice the art of laying down the load, recognizing that the day is finished and that we have done what we could. This ability to disconnect from the frantic energy of doing, and to simply rest in the state of being, is a supreme luxury in our always-on culture. When you sleep with a heart that is clear and a mind that is at rest, you wake up with a wealth of energy and a spirit that is ready to meet the new day with curiosity and joy. Consider the wealth of not wanting to change anyone, the radical acceptance of the people in your life exactly as they are, with all their quirks, their flaws, and their unique paths. We spend a fortune of emotional energy trying to fix our partners, our children, or our colleagues, believing that our happiness depends on their transformation. But a person who is wealthy in wisdom knows that true peace comes from changing our own reaction to others, rather than trying to rewrite their story. When you give people the freedom to be themselves, you find that a heavy weight of resentment and frustration drops away, leaving behind a space for genuine connection and unconditional love. This relational prosperity is the secret to a happy home and a harmonious life, providing a sense of ease that makes every interaction a source of nourishment rather than a source of stress. There is a unique beauty in the wealth of a beginner's heart, the humility to admit that we don't know everything and the willingness to be surprised by life in every moment. We often think that expertise and certainty are the marks of a successful person, yet these things can also become prisons that prevent us from seeing the new possibilities that are constantly emerging. But when you approach your work, your finances, and your spiritual practice with a sense of wonder and openness, you are always rich in growth. You are never too old to learn a new skill, never too successful to hear a new idea, and never too wise to be touched by the simple beauty of a sunset. This eternal curiosity keeps your spirit young and your mind vibrant, ensuring that your life remains a thrilling journey of discovery rather than a predictable routine of management. The Buddha's path of mindfulness of the body is a form of physical wealth that reminds us to cherish the miraculous vessel we inhabit, not for its appearance, but for its incredible capacity to experience the world. If you can feel the air in your lungs, the strength in your muscles, and the intricate sensations of your skin, you are experiencing a level of richness that is beyond any luxury spa. We often treat our bodies like a transportation device for our heads, ignoring its signals and its wisdom until it breaks down. But when you move through the world with a sensory awareness, every step becomes an act of gratitude and every movement becomes a celebration of life. This biological wealth is the foundation of our existence, and by honoring it with rest, movement, and presence, we ensure that we have the vitality to fulfill our purpose and share our light with others. Imagine the wealth of a person who is grateful for their enemies, recognizing that the people who challenge us, criticize us, or obstruct our path are actually our most profound teachers. In the school of life, a difficult person provides the resistance training that allows our muscles of patience, compassion, and equanimity to grow strong. Without the friction of challenge, our wisdom would remain soft and untested. When you can look at a rival and say, "Thank you for helping me practice my peace," you have reached a level of spiritual maturity that is truly unshakable. You are no longer a victim of circumstances, but a master of your own evolution, and this transformative wealth allows you to turn the lead of conflict into the gold of insight. You find that the world is no longer a place of threats, but a grand laboratory of the soul where everything is helping you wake up. Wealth is also the ability to be satisfied with the invisible, to find meaning in the things that cannot be photographed, measured, or shown off on social media. The deep quiet of a morning meditation, the feeling of integrity after a difficult but honest conversation, or the sense of connection with the earth while gardening are all invisible riches that provide the real substance of a happy life. We are often so focused on the external markers of success that we neglect the internal garden where our true happiness grows. But when you prioritize the quality of your inner state over the quantity of your outer possessions, you find a sense of fulfillment that is stable and deep. You are like a mountain that is vast and solid beneath the ground, even if the peak is sometimes covered by the clouds of the world's opinions. In the old chronicles, there is a story of a monk who spent his life translating ancient scriptures and was asked why he didn't want his name on the cover of the books. He replied that the truth has no author, and that his only joy was in the act of sharing the light, not in owning the lamp. This wealth of anonymity is a powerful antidote to the modern obsession with fame and recognition, which often leads to a life of anxiety and pretense. When you work for the joy of the work itself and for the benefit of others, you are free from the stress of maintaining an image. Your work becomes a pure expression of your soul, untainted by the need for applause, and this purity carries a weight and a resonance that can touch people for generations. You are building a legacy of light, and your name is written in the hearts of those you have helped, which is the only place where a name truly lasts. There is a profound peace in the wealth of a simple diet, not just in terms of what we eat, but in terms of the information, the sounds, and the images we consume. Our minds are often overfed with the junk food of gossip, sensational news, and the digital noise of the crowd, leaving us mentally bloated and spiritually sluggish. But when you choose to consume with awareness, feeding your mind only with what is beautiful, true, and helpful, you experience a surge of mental clarity and emotional lightness. This cognitive wealth allows you to see the world as it really is, without the distortion of fear or the cloud of unnecessary information. You become more focused, more creative, and more at peace, providing you with the internal resources to handle the challenges of your life with grace and precision. Think of the wealth of patience with your own progress, the kindness to allow yourself to be a work in progress without the constant whip of self-criticism. Most of us are in such a rush to reach enlightenment or to achieve success that we miss the beautiful scenery of the middle of the journey. But the Dhamma teaches us that the path is the goal, and that every step taken in awareness is already a victory. When you treat your mistakes as lessons and your setbacks as pauses for breath, you are living in a state of self-compassion that is a supreme form of prosperity. You are your own best friend, your own most encouraging mentor, and this internal support system makes you resilient against the judgments of the world. You find that as you stop being so hard on yourself, your natural talents and your inherent goodness begin to flourish with an effortless ease. Every moment of letting go is a direct deposit into the bank of your freedom, as you release the heavy chains of I want and I need that keep you tethered to a life of dissatisfaction. You realize that you don't need to gain anything to be happy, you only need to lose the beliefs that say you are not enough. This negative wealth, the wealth of what you have discarded, is the most liberating form of riches there is. You discard your anger, your pride, your fear, and your greed, and in their place, you find the radiant emptiness that is your true home. You are like a sculptor who removes the excess stone to reveal the beautiful statue that was always hidden inside. The gold was never something you had to find, it was something you had to uncover by removing the dirt of the ego. Wealth is also the ability to celebrate the success of others, with a heart that is genuinely happy and free from the sting of envy. When you see someone else achieve a goal, win an award, or find love, if you can feel their joy as if it were your own, you have doubled your own happiness without any extra effort. This sympathetic joy is a form of infinite wealth, for there is always someone, somewhere, who is having a moment of triumph. By tapping into the global stream of success, you are never poor, and you are never alone in your happiness. You find that the more you cheer for others, the more the universe cheers for you, in a beautiful cycle of mutual upliftment and shared abundance. You are a part of a winning team, and that team is the entire human family. As the moon continues its slow journey across the sky, let yourself be filled with the wealth of the quiet conscience, the deep and unshakable knowledge that you have done your best to be a person of kindness and truth. You don't need to be a saint or a hero to be a success, you only need to be someone who leaves every person they meet a little bit better than they found them. This simple commitment to daily goodness is a form of spiritual wealth that accumulates into a mountain of merit over a lifetime. You are building a sanctuary of peace within yourself, and tonight you can rest in that sanctuary, knowing that you are safe, you are worthy, and you are deeply connected to the infinite heart of the universe. The silence of the night is not an empty void, but a fullness of potential, a space where the next day's blessings are already beginning to take shape. Your life is a beautiful and mysterious part of this unfolding creation, and you have a unique role to play that no one else can fulfill. Embrace the richness of your existence with a heart that is open and a mind that is at peace, and know that you are always, always enough. The journey toward true wealth is a journey of returning to yourself, to the place of stillness and light that has always been your true nature. Walk your path with confidence, live your life with love, and let your inner wealth be a light for all the world to see. The final watch of the night brings a stillness that is both ancient and fresh, a moment where the stars seem to whisper that the greatest wealth of all is the courage to be fully human and fully divine at the same time. We often think of our spiritual journey and our material life as two separate paths, like two rivers running in opposite directions, but in the deepest realization of the heart, they merge into one single, majestic flow. True prosperity is the integration of your highest wisdom into your most mundane actions, so that the way you handle a coin, the way you speak to a child, and the way you sit in meditation are all expressions of the same sacred presence. You realize that you do not need to choose between being successful in the world and being at peace in your soul, for when you act with integrity and love, your success becomes a form of service and your peace becomes a form of power. Imagine the wealth of a life that has become a living prayer, where every breath is a thank you and every movement is an offering to the goodness of the universe. This state of being is not reserved for those in monasteries or remote caves, but is available to the merchant, the parent, the artist, and the worker. When you do your work with the intention of easing the lives of others, you are practicing a form of practical enlightenment that turns the marketplace into a temple. You no longer work for the sake of the result alone, but for the beauty of the effort and the purity of the connection. This shift in motivation is the most profound economic revolution a person can experience, for it replaces the stress of getting with the immense and sustainable joy of giving. In the old chronicles of the Buddha's life, there was a day when he sat among a vast assembly of people and simply held up a flower without saying a single word. Most of the crowd was confused, looking for a complex explanation or a profound teaching, but one disciple named Mahakassapa simply smiled, for he understood the silent wealth of the moment. He saw that the entire truth of existence was contained in that one flower, in its color, its fragrance, and its simple reality. This story reminds us that we are often surrounded by the ultimate treasure, yet we miss it because we are looking for something more complicated or more expensive. To be truly wealthy is to be able to smile with the flower, to see the infinite in the infinitesimal and the eternal in the temporary. Money can buy the most prestigious monuments and the most elaborate funerals, but it cannot buy the wealth of a light departure, the ability to leave the world with a heart that is empty of regrets and full of peace. As we reach the sunset of any experience, whether it is the end of a day, the end of a project, or the end of a lifetime, the only things that truly matter are the love we shared and the wisdom we gained. A person who is wealthy in the Dhamma treats every day as a practice for letting go, so that when the time comes to move on, they can do so with a sense of grace and curiosity. This fearlessness in the face of change is the supreme victory of the spirit, a treasure that makes you a king or queen of your own destiny, regardless of the circumstances. Consider the wealth of leaving no trace, the refined art of moving through the world so gently that you leave it better than you found it, without the heavy footprints of ego or the scars of greed. Most people want to be remembered for what they took or what they built, but there is a higher nobility in being remembered for the peace you left behind. You are like a breeze that cools the forest or a rain that nourishes the field, acting without the need for a signature. This invisible legacy is a form of spiritual wealth that continues to bless the world long after your name has been forgotten, for the vibrations of your kindness are woven into the very fabric of existence. You are part of the kind roots of the world, providing the hidden strength that allows the flowers of tomorrow to bloom. There is a unique prosperity in the wealth of the finished journey, the realization that you have finally stopped searching for something outside yourself to make you whole. You look into the mirror of your own soul and you see that you are already the gold, already the light, and already the peace you were chasing across 1,000 lifetimes. The pursuit of money and the pursuit of status were just the outer games that led you to the inner discovery of your own magnificence. You can still participate in the world, you can still create, and you can still thrive, but you do so with the laughter of someone who has found a hidden treasure and knows that the game was just for fun. This freedom from the need to be wealthy is the most profound wealth of all. As the sun begins to color the horizon with the first hints of gold, let yourself be filled with a sense of cosmic belonging, the deep and unshakable knowledge that you are a cherished child of the universe. You are not a mistake, you are not a failure, and you are not a small, insignificant thing. You are a vital and beautiful part of a grand and purposeful design. Every challenge you have faced was a tool to polish your soul, and every joy you have felt was a reminder of your true home. Your wealth is the very life that flows through you, a treasure that is being renewed in every single breath. Trust in the path, trust in the light, and trust in the infinite love that is guiding you home. The journey of the heart is a circle that returns to the very place where it began, but with a new pair of eyes that can see the sacred in the ordinary. You have traveled through the landscapes of greed and generosity, fear and courage, and you have found that the pearl of great price was always within you. Your life is a masterpiece of the Dhamma, a living testament to the power of awareness and the beauty of a kind heart. Stay rooted in the truth, let your compassion be your compass, and move forward into the new day with a spirit that is bright, open, and eternally wealthy. You are the gardener, you are the seed, and you are the flowering tree, all at once, in a beautiful dance of infinite abundance. The air is cool, the world is waking up, and a new story is beginning to be written with every choice you make. May your path be lined with the flowers of mindfulness and the shade of equanimity, and may your heart always be a fountain of joy for yourself and everyone you meet. You have everything you need, you are everything you were meant to be, and you are walking in the light of the eternal truth. Take a deep, final breath of the night and a fresh, first breath of the morning, and feel the wealth of simply being alive. This is the true meaning of prosperity, the true goal of the journey, and the most beautiful reality of all, that you are, and have always been, enough.